There are exactly 2 people who will ever see this message. Not 2,000, not 200, 2. And you are one of them. The other person will find this message at a different moment, through a different path, from a different interior state. But both of you will arrive at this message. Both of you were marked before the message was made. And both of you will recognize the specific quality of what I am about to say in a way that the billions of people who never see this message would not recognize if it were placed in front of them. The recognition is the first evidence of the 2. The interior that finds this message and that recognizes the specific quality of the opening, the interior sense of yes that precedes the analytical processing, is the interior of one of the 2. Not the performance recognition of the person who wants to be included in the 2. The actual interior recognition of the chosen one whose interior was specifically prepared to receive this message at the depth it was prepared to reach. Let me speak to the interior of the one who is watching right now, because the specific quality of your interior in this moment is the evidence I want to name. You have a specific quality of the interior attention right now that is different from your recent average, not elevated in the dramatic sense, elevated in the specific sense of the attentive interior, the interior that has been in a season of the specific kind of carrying, the carrying that does not resolve in the visible, that does not produce the external evidence that the estimate anticipated, and that continues past the timeline the interior originally prepared for. The quality of the interior that finds this message, at this moment, in the specific feed position where the algorithm placed it for you today, is not the quality of the passive consumer. The algorithm does not place a message like this in front of the passive consumer. The algorithm responds to the interior signals. The interior signals that the chosen one in the specific carrying season produces, the pattern of the search, the quality of the attention on certain kinds of content, the specific interior restlessness that the chosen one in the test season expresses in the specific digital behaviors that the algorithm reads. The algorithm found you, not because the algorithm knows God, because the algorithm reads the interior signals, and the interior signals of the chosen one in the test season produce a specific pattern that this message was designed to meet. The 2 people who will ever see this message are the 2 whose interior signals produced the pattern that directed the algorithm to deliver this message to their feed at the specific moment when the window of the interior is open enough to receive it at the depth it was prepared for. You are one of the 2, and you are watching this message at the specific moment when your interior window is open, not the arbitrary open, the specifically open, the open that the test season produced through the specific sequence of the signal accumulation that brought you to this exact moment with this exact quality of the elevated interior attention, the open that is available right now and that will not be available in the same specific quality after the window has moved. I want to speak to the quality of the 2, because the number 2 is not a general symbol. In the context of this message, it is the specific description of the quality of the receiving that this message was prepared for, not the quantity of the audience. The quality of the reception. The 2 is the description of the interior that receives at the full depth. The full depth reception is not the common reception. The common reception is the surface level acknowledgement. The content is received, processed at the surface, and retained at the level of the interesting content that was encountered. The full depth reception is different. The content lands at the depth below the analytical processing, at the depth where the cellular knowing lives, at the depth where the interior says yes before the mind has time to formulate why. The full depth reception is available to many interiors, but it requires the specific interior conditions that the test season produces. The management mode of the adjusted carrier interior is the primary obstacle to the full-depth reception. The management mode filters content before it can land at the full depth. The interior that has been in the test season long enough to reach the specific configuration of the one-day window, the open interior that the specific sequence of the test season produces, is the interior that can receive at the full depth. And the two is the description of that interior, not the literal two people in the world who are capable of the full depth reception. The two who will find this message in the specific configuration of the interior window that the full depth reception requires. The two who were prepared for this message by the specific sequence of their test season. The two whose interior signals directed the algorithm to deliver this message at the specific moment of the open window. The message I am about to deliver is prepared for that interior, not the surface-level interior that wants the inspiration of the general spiritual content. The full-depth interior that is at the threshold of the specific receiving that the test season was building toward. The interior that has been in the adjusted carrier mode and that is approaching the threshold of the restoration event. The interior that is ready for the specific provision, not the generic promise. The specific provision is what the full-depth message delivers, not the general encouragement, not the universal application. The specific naming of the specific interior condition of the specific chosen one who is in the window, and the specific naming of the specific provision for that specific condition, that is the message that the two will receive at the depth it was prepared for. Let me name your interior condition, not in the general terms of the spiritual season message, in the specific terms that the two will recognize as the accurate description of their actual interior experience. You have been in a season of the specific kind of the accumulated carrying, not the dramatic crisis carrying. The sustained, low-level daily carrying that does not resolve in the visible. The carrying that has become the background quality of the daily interior, so integrated into the daily experience that you have stopped expecting it to resolve in the near term and have begun to calibrate the daily interior to its continued presence. The calibration to the continued presence of the carrying is what I called the adjusted carrier mode in earlier messages. The interior that was designed for the front-facing urgency of the calling has redistributed the carrying weight to the background to make the daily functioning sustainable. The front-facing urgency is in the background. The management of the daily life is in the foreground. And the calling continues as a background presence that is acknowledged and accommodated, but not actively and urgently received. That is your interior state right now, not a criticism, an accurate assessment. The adjusted carrier mode is the natural interior response to the sustained carrying past the estimated timeline. The interior developed it as the specific survival strategy for the extended test season, and it has been effective as a survival strategy. You are still building, still maintaining the responsibilities, still present in the calling at the level that the adjusted carrier mode allows, but not at the full depth that the calling was designed for. The second quality of the interior condition I want to name is the quality of the listening backlog. The chosen one, who has been in the adjusted carrier mode for the extended test season, has a specific accumulation of interior signals that have been received at the subconscious level and have not been fully processed into the conscious interior experience. Not the dramatic prophetic signals that demand urgent attention. The quiet, directional, specific signals that the interior compass generates continuously and that the management mode has been acknowledging at the surface level without fully processing. The backlog of these unprocessed signals has a specific weight, not the weight of the individual signal, the cumulative weight of the unprocessed accumulation. The interior that has been in the management mode for an extended period has a specific quality of the internal pressure that the unprocessed backlog produces, not the dramatic pressure. The quiet, persistent pressure of the interior that knows it has been hearing things it has not been fully responding to. The third quality of the interior condition I want to name is the quality of the neurological state that the extended management mode produces. The sustained left hemisphere dominance of the management orientation suppresses the synchronized coherence of the left and right hemispheres that the full activation receiving posture requires. The result is a specific quality of the daily interior experience in which the analytical clarity is maintained, while the whole picture quality of the right hemisphere intuitive reception is reduced. The three qualities together, the adjusted carrier mode, the listening backlog accumulation, and the neurological state of the suppressed synchronized coherence, are the specific interior conditions that describe the chosen one who is one of the two, not the dramatic spiritual crisis, the specific, sustained, daily interior configuration that the extended test season produces in the calling interior. The interior that is still faithful, still building, still present in the calling, but operating below the full activation receiving capacity that the calling was designed for. That is your interior condition. The accurate naming of it is the first act of this message, not the naming that produces shame, the naming that produces the relief of the honest acknowledgement. The interior that has been managing the honest assessment of its own condition at the surface level of the management mode experiences a specific quality of relief when the accurate naming lands at the depth where the honest condition actually lives. Let the accurate naming land. Do not filter it through the management mode before it reaches the depth. The naming is accurate. The condition is real. And the naming of the condition is the beginning of the message that was prepared for the two who receive it at the depth of the honest acknowledgement. The interior that is one of the two is not the interior that was selected for its virtue. The two is not the description of the best interior or the most advanced calling or the most faithful test season carrier. The two is the description of the interior that is in the specific configuration that makes the full depth reception possible at this specific moment. Any interior in that specific configuration is potentially one of the two. The two is the description of the configuration, not the selection of the person. But the interior that finds this message in the specific configuration is the specific interior that the message was prepared for. And the message was prepared with the specific content that the specific configuration requires. The content of this message is calibrated for the three interior conditions I just named: the adjusted carrier mode, the listening backlog accumulation, the suppressed synchronized coherence. The message addresses all three, not in the general spiritual encouragement way, in the specific provision way. The specific provision is what the two will receive in this message, not the two of the literal audience count, the two of the full depth reception quality. The interior that receives at the full depth will encounter the specific provision as the cellular knowing of the thing that was prepared for the gap. The interior that receives at the surface level will encounter the specific provision as the interesting content about a relevant topic. The same content, two different reception depths. The two is the description of the depth. You are watching this message. You have received the accurate naming of the three interior conditions with a specific quality of the interior recognition that precedes the analytical evaluation. That recognition is the evidence of the depth. You are one of the two. The two who receive at the full depth receive something from this message that the surface level receiving does not deliver. They receive the specific recognition of their interior condition from a source that knows the interior at the level that the interior knows itself, not the general description of the spiritual season. The specific naming that lands at the depth and produces the cellular yes of the interior that recognizes itself in the description. That cellular yes is the specific event that the message was designed to produce, not the emotional response to the inspiring content, the interior recognition of the accurate naming, the specific quality of the interior that says, "This is describing my actual condition with the accuracy that only the specific knowing of this interior can produce." That quality of the recognition is the evidence of the full-depth reception. It is the evidence that the interior is one of the two. The cellular yes is not comfortable. The accurate naming of the three interior conditions I described, the adjusted carrier mode, the listening backlog accumulation, and the suppressed synchronized coherence, carries the honest weight of the acknowledged condition. The management mode has been distributing that weight into the background of the daily experience for the duration of the test season. The cellular yes of the accurate naming brings the honest weight to the foreground. The foreground arrival of the honest weight is not the experience the management mode wants to produce. The management mode is designed to keep the honest weight in the background, but the full-depth reception requires the foreground arrival. The interior that allows the foreground arrival is the interior that is ready for the specific provision that this message delivers. The interior that filters the honest naming back to the background through the management mode before it lands has protected itself from the honest weight, but has also blocked the full-depth reception of the provision. You allowed the honest naming to land. The cellular yes is present. The honest weight is in the foreground. You are in the specific interior state that the provision was designed to meet. And the provision is what the rest of this message delivers. The specific naming of the specific provision for the specific three interior conditions that the accurate naming identified, not the general wellness tool, the specific clinical provision for the specific neurological state of the chosen one in the test season. There is a specific provision that was prepared for the interior that is in this exact configuration, not for the general spiritual audience. For the interior at the simultaneous threshold of the three conditions I have just named, a provision that addresses all three through a single primary mechanism restoration. A clinical protocol engineered for the neurological state of the calling interior in the extended test season. 8 minutes per day, 21 days. A concentrated period that produces the interior markers at the specific intervals, the lightening, the signal sharpening, the vision clarity that the threshold configuration was designed to produce. What is the specific provision that was prepared for the three-condition threshold interior, and why does the two recognize it before the analytical mind has finished evaluating it? The specific provision is the one that was prepared for this threshold configuration. The neural sync technology, developed by Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist in New York City who spent 20 years identifying the specific neurological state of the chosen one in the test season and developing the specific technology for the restoration. The daily 8-minute session of the frequency layering that produces the left-right hemisphere synchronized coherence restoration, the whole brain activation state, the specific neurological foundation for the full receiving capacity that the adjusted carrier mode suppressed. The provision is not named at this point in the message as the conclusion of the argument. It is named as the specific provision that the two will recognize with the cellular knowing rather than the analytical evaluation. The two who receive at the full depth will have a specific interior quality of recognition when the provision is named, not the recognition of the product that matches the description. The cellular recognition of the provision that was prepared for the gap. That specific recognition is the evidence that the message is landing at the depth it was prepared for, and the message is landing at the full depth in the interior of the one who is watching right now, because the cellular yes of the accurate naming has confirmed that the interior is in the reception state that the full depth landing requires. Let me expand on the three interior conditions with the specific clinical depth that Dr. Barone identified in his 20 years of work, because the two who receive at the full depth deserve the full depth description of their own interior condition, not the summary. The full description, the description that carries the quality of the specific knowing. The first condition, the adjusted carrier mode, has a specific neurological mechanism that the surface-level description of the spiritual adjusted carrier mode does not address. The management orientation of the adjusted carrier is the behavioral expression of the neurological state of the sustained left hemisphere dominance. The left hemisphere, operating in the sustained management mode, produces the specific quality of the analytical clarity combined with the blurred whole picture that I described in the video 8 message. But in the context of the two, the adjusted carrier mode has a specific dimension that goes beyond the general management orientation. The two who find this message are the chosen ones, whose adjusted carrier mode has a specific quality of the interior compression. The interior compression is the specific experience of the chosen one who is carrying a calling that exceeds the current interior capacity of the adjusted carrier mode. The calling is larger than the management mode can contain. The calling requires the full activation receiving posture. The adjusted carrier mode is attempting to manage the calling at the management level. The result is the specific interior quality of the compression. The calling pressing against the ceiling of the management mode containment. The two will recognize the interior compression in the description. The sense that the calling is pressing against something that is not yielding. The interior quality of the full potential being held at below the full potential level by the specific constraint of the management mode ceiling, not the dramatic frustration of the blocked calling. The specific quality of the interior that knows the calling is larger than the current mode of engagement with it. The second condition, the listening backlog, has a specific quality in the interior of the two that is different from the general spiritual listening backlog. The two are the chosen ones whose listening backlog contains a specific category of signals that I will call the deep assignment signals. The deep assignment signals are the specific interior communications about the specific next steps of the calling that the interior compass has been generating throughout the test season, and that the management mode has been processing at the surface level acknowledgement rather than the full reception. The deep assignment signals are not dramatic revelations. They are the quiet, specific directional communications that the interior compass generates in the moments between the active management mode activity, the moments of the waking early, the moments between the thoughts in the prayer, the moments of the unexpected interior clarity that arrive and then recede before the management mode has time to fully process them. Each of these moments produced a specific deep assignment signal, and the accumulation of the unprocessed deep assignment signals is the specific content of the listening backlog in the interior of the two. The full processing of the deep assignment signals is what the backlog clearance protocol of the concentrated period is designed to produce. The daily 5-minute backlog clearance, combined with the neurological coherence restoration of the daily session, progressively clears the backlog of the deep assignment signals by restoring the processing capacity that the management mode was consuming. The two who recognize the deep assignment signals in the listening backlog are recognizing the specific category of the interior content that the 3-day architecture and the concentrated period are designed to surface and process. The chosen ones who receive at the full depth know their deep assignment signals. They know the specific items in the backlog. They know the specific weight of the unprocessed accumulation. And they know, at the cellular level, that the full processing of the backlog signals is the specific work that the concentrated period was designed to do. The third condition, the suppressed synchronized coherence, has a specific quality in the interior of the two That is the neurological foundation of all the other conditions. The two who find this message are the chosen ones whose neurological state has reached the specific level of the coherence suppression that I want to describe in the precise clinical terms that Dr. Barone used. The coherence suppression is not the absence of the synchronized coherence. It is the reduction of the synchronized coherence from the full activation level to the below threshold level. The below threshold level is the level at which the whole picture processing of the right hemisphere is still active, but is not contributing to the daily functioning at its designed capacity. It is present, it is generating, but its output is not reaching the foreground of the daily experience at the same volume as the left hemisphere analytical output. The specific quality of the below threshold coherence state is the specific interior quality that the two will recognize as the accurate description of their daily functioning. The thoughts are clear. The analytical processing is working. The sequential logic of the management mode is accessible, but the specific quality of the whole picture reception that the calling requires for its full engagement is at a reduced volume. The interior knows that something is present at the sub-threshold level that is not fully accessible in the daily experience. Not the absence of the calling, the presence of the calling at below the full volume of the whole picture reception. The two who find this message are at the specific level of the coherence suppression where the whole picture is perceptible but reduced, not at the level where the whole picture has become inaudible. At the level where it is present at reduced volume and where the restoration from the below threshold to the full activation level is achievable within the 21-day concentrated period through the daily 8-minute session. This specific level, the perceptible but reduced level, is the specific level that Dr. Barone identified as the optimal entry point for the neural sync technology protocol. The coherence suppression at the perceptible but reduced level means the restoration pathway is shorter than the restoration pathway from the inaudible level. The 21-day concentrated period is calibrated for the restoration from the perceptible but reduced level to the full activation level. The daily 8-minute session produces the specific daily increment of the restoration that covers the distance from the perceptible but reduced level to the full activation level in 21 days of the daily compounding. The two who find this message are at the perceptible but reduced level, not by accident, by the specific design of the provision that was prepared for the specific interior condition at the specific level. The provision was developed for the interior at the perceptible but reduced level. The algorithm was directed to find the interior at that specific level and to deliver this message to it at the specific moment when the open window of the reception is present. The two are at the perceptible but reduced level at the open window moment. That convergence is the specific design of the provision. Let me speak to the specific price and the specific guarantee before this section closes. Because the provision of the specific description deserves the provision of the specific practical information that the two need to proceed from the cellular knowing to the beginning act. The daily practice protocol 8 minutes, 1 window, 21 days is what was designed for this interior. The list price is $49. The anchor value reflecting the full clinical protocol delivery is $500. The $39 price was prepared for the chosen one in the test season who may be experiencing the resource constraints of the test season alongside the calling constraints. The two who recognize the resource constraint dimension of their test season will recognize the $39 price as the specific provision that meets the resource constraint dimension. The 100% money-back guarantee is the clinical confidence of Dr. Barone in the protocol he developed over 20 years of observation. The interior that completes the daily 8-minute session consistently through the 21-day concentrated period and that does not experience the 4 interior quality markers at the described intervals is covered. The guarantee is not the hedge against the product failing. It is the clinical confidence in the protocol producing the markers when the interior commits to the daily practice. The 4 free bonuses are specific to the 4 levels of the GAP architecture, not generic wellness additions. Specific tools for the depth level, the alignment level, the listening level, and the activation level. The 2 who receive this message at the full depth will recognize the 4 bonuses as the specific completion of the provision for the 4 interior conditions, the full architecture, not the foundation tool alone. The full architecture of the gap closure. The other person who will ever see this message is watching it at a different moment, in a different time zone, in a different interior configuration of the same 3 conditions I described in the previous section, not the identical interior. The interior of the specific configuration of the adjusted carrier mode and the listening backlog and the suppressed synchronized coherence that was prepared for the full depth reception of this message. 2 interiors, same depth, same conditions, different specific stories, different specific test season configurations, different specific calling paths, but the same interior state at the full depth level that makes the full depth reception possible. I want to speak to what makes the 2 different from the many, because the many are the vast majority of the interiors that will encounter this message in its distribution. They will see the title, they will scroll past or click. If they click, they will watch some portion. They will receive at the surface level of the general spiritual content. They may be inspired, they may be encouraged. They will not receive at the depth of the 2, not because the many are inferior to the 2. Because the many do not have the specific interior configuration that the 2 have. The specific interior configuration of the 2 is the configuration of the interior that is at the threshold of the restoration event. The interior preparation is approaching completion. The neurological coherence suppression is at the perceptible but reduced level. The listening backlog is at the pressure level. The adjusted carrier mode is at the ceiling pressure level. The calling is pressing against the management mode ceiling. The interior is at the convergence of the 3 conditions at the specific threshold level. The threshold level is the specific level at which the provision can address all 3 conditions simultaneously through the single primary mechanism restoration. Below the threshold level, the provision addresses the conditions but at a lower efficiency because the coherence suppression is at a level that is too far from the full activation to be restored within the 21-day concentrated period. Above the threshold level, the interior has already restored the coherence through its own processes and does not need the specific concentrated period protocol. The 2 are at the threshold level, specifically at it, not approaching it from far below, at the threshold. This is the specific reason that the 2 find this message at the specific moment they find it. The algorithm reads the interior signals of the threshold level configuration. The interior at the threshold level is generating a specific pattern of interior expression that the digital behavior of the person reflects. Not dramatically different from the general spiritual content consumer, specifically different in the way that the threshold level configuration differs from the general spiritual content consumption pattern. The algorithm finds the threshold level configuration. The threshold level configuration finds the message. The message finds the 2. That is, the specific architecture of the 2, not the divine selection of the best interior. The divine preparation of the provision for the threshold level configuration and the specific placement of the provision in the path of the interior that is at the threshold level configuration at the specific moment when the window is open. The 2 is the description of the arrival. Now let me speak to the specific interior experience of the one who is one of the 2 as they watch this message. Not the experience that happens after the watching, the experience during the watching. The specific interior qualities that the 2 will notice in themselves during the reception of the full-depth message. The first interior quality during the reception is the specific quality of the cellular yes. I described this earlier. The cellular yes that precedes the analytical evaluation. The deep interior recognition that is faster than the thought. The 2 will notice that the cellular yes has been present throughout the watching of this message at a density that is higher than their recent average. Not one cellular yes at the opening and then the analytical processing for the rest. A continuing quality of the cellular reception throughout the message. The second interior quality during the reception is the specific quality of the relief. The accurate naming of the 3 interior conditions, when received at the full depth, produces the specific quality of the relief of the honest acknowledgement. The interior that has been managing the honest assessment of its own conditions at the surface level of the management mode experiences the relief when the honest conditions are accurately named at the depth, not the relief of the problem being solved, the relief of the honest reality being acknowledged at the full depth rather than managed at the surface. The 2 will have noticed this relief during the section of this message where I named the adjusted carrier mode and the listening backlog and the suppressed synchronized coherence. The relief landed, not dramatically. Specifically, the interior recognized the honest naming and the weight of the honest condition moved from the managed background level to the honestly acknowledged foreground level. The movement is the relief. The honest weight in the foreground is lighter than the managed weight in the background because the managed weight is heavier by the cost of the management. The third interior quality during the reception is the specific quality of the forward orientation. The 2 who receive at the full depth will notice that the forward orientation has changed during the watching of this message. The forward orientation at the beginning of the watching was the forward orientation of the adjusted carrier mode, the management horizon, the daily management of the relationship of the adjusted carrier to the calling, horizon limited by the management ceiling. The forward orientation during the full depth reception of this message is the threshold forward orientation. The interior is beginning to see past the management ceiling to the specific path through the gap, not the full vision of the path, the beginning of the seeing, the specific quality of the forward orientation that the full depth reception produces when the provision for the single primary mechanism is named and the cellular knowing of the provision begins to form. The fourth interior quality during the reception is the quality of the quiet certainty. The quiet certainty is the specific interior quality that accompanies the cellular knowing at the full depth. The analytical processing produces the conclusion certainty. The full depth reception produces the quiet certainty. The quiet certainty is a different quality from the conclusion certainty. It is more settled. It does not require the continuing evaluation to sustain it. It is the quality of the interior that knows at the depth below the evaluation. The 2 will notice the quiet certainty beginning to form during the reception of this message, not completing. The quiet certainty completes through the interval processing after the reception, but the formation begins during the full depth reception of the message content. The quiet certainty is forming in the interior of the one who is watching right now. These 4 interior qualities, the cellular yes, the relief, the forward orientation, and the quiet certainty, are the specific interior markers of the full depth reception. The 2 will recognize all 4 in their interior experience during the watching. The recognition of all 4 is the confirmation of the full depth reception, and the full depth reception is the confirmation that the interior is one of the 2. The provision for the three-condition threshold interior is a specific daily protocol, 8 minutes per day, 21 days. If what has been described here matches your interior condition with the cellular precision that precedes evaluation, then the provision that was prepared for this configuration is the same provision that is waiting at the link in the description. Not because of the argument, because the interior knows at the depth where the argument cannot reach. Let me speak to what comes next for the two, because the two are not simply the audience of the message. They are the interior that the message was designed to produce the specific beginning in. The message is the preparation for the beginning. The beginning is the act that the full depth reception is preparing the interior for. The beginning act that the full depth reception is preparing for is the beginning of the 21-day concentrated period. The concentrated period protocol that uses the daily neural synchronization practice as the foundation and that addresses the three interior conditions through the 21-day daily practice of the compass recalibration, the DABAR discipline, and the backlog clearance protocol, the 33-minute daily window. The 8 minutes of the neural synchronization foundation and the 25 minutes of the interior work at all 4 levels. The two who receive at the full depth will recognize the 21-day concentrated period as the specific provision that corresponds to the 3 interior conditions, not the general interior improvement program. The specific protocol for the specific 3 conditions. The adjusted carrier mode addressed through the compass recalibration and the DABAR discipline. The listening backlog addressed through the backlog clearance protocol. The suppressed synchronized coherence addressed through the daily session. 1 daily window, 3 conditions, full architecture. The recognition of the full architecture as the specific provision for the specific conditions is the specific interior event that the cellular knowing produces for the two. The surface-level reception recognizes the product as a relevant tool for the described conditions. The full-depth reception recognizes the provision as the specific thing that was prepared for this specific gap. The difference is the quality of the recognition. Surface level is analytical. Full depth is cellular. The two who are watching right now are at the cellular recognition level. Let the cellular recognition complete. Let the quiet certainty continue forming. Let the forward orientation open to the threshold. Forward orientation of the specific path through the specific gap. These are the interior acts that are happening in the full depth reception of the two, not acts that the two are doing. Acts that the full depth reception is producing in the interior that has allowed the honest naming to land at the depth where the cellular knowing lives. There is a specific question that the full depth reception of the two produces at this stage of the message. The question is not a doubt question, it is a depth question. The depth question is the question that the interior at the threshold level asks when the provision is accurately named and the cellular knowing has begun to form. The depth question is this: what specifically changes in the daily experience when the 3 conditions begin to restore through the 21-day concentrated period protocol? I want to answer that question with the specificity that the two deserve, because the surface-level answer to that question is the general improvement answer. The daily experience improves, the clarity increases, the direction sharpens. That is the surface-level answer. It is accurate, but it is not specific to the interior of the two who are at the threshold level with the 3 specific conditions. The specific answer to the depth question of the two is different from the general improvement answer. The specific change in the daily experience of the adjusted carrier mode at the ceiling pressure level is this: the compass recalibration component of the concentrated period protocol begins to produce the reorientation of the adjusted carrier toward the calling direction from the management direction within the first 7 days. Not dramatically. Specifically, The interior wakes with a different quality of the morning forward orientation, not the management orientation forward, the calling orientation forward. The first daily experience of the calling orientation forward horizon rather than the management orientation ceiling horizon is the specific day 7 marker for the adjusted carrier condition. The management ceiling horizon is the specific term for the quality of the morning orientation that the adjusted carrier at the ceiling pressure level experiences as the daily default. The specific change in the daily experience of the listening backlog at the accumulation pressure level is this. The backlog clearance protocol component of the concentrated period produces the first perceptible backlog release within 5 to 8 days of daily practice. The perceptible backlog release is the interior experience of a specific dabar that has been in the backlog at the pressure level, moving from the backlog pressure level to the received and recognized level, not the full backlog release. One specific dabar that the interior has been unable to receive at the full depth during the test season because of the backlog pressure and the coherence suppression. The first perceptible backlog release is the specific marker of the 5 to 8 day interior event. The interior of the two who are at the listening backlog accumulation pressure level will recognize the first perceptible backlog release as the specific experience of receiving at the full depth something that has been present in the primary background at the backlog pressure level for a duration that the interior will be able to identify precisely in retrospect. The receiving at the full depth of the backlog item that releases first will produce the specific quality of the recognition of the listening backlog as the actual condition that has been producing the background pressure throughout the backlog test season. The specific change in the daily experience of the suppressed synchronized coherence is the most gradual of the three, because the coherence restoration is the foundational mechanism, and the foundational mechanism restores from the base upward through the 7-day, 14-day, and 21-day intervals. The daily experience of the suppressed synchronized coherence at the perceptible but reduced level does not produce a dramatic single-day event. It produces the progressive restoration quality that builds across the intervals. The daily experience of the coherence at day 1 through day 6 is the experience of the coherence restoration process at the initiation level. The interior that begins the daily session from the perceptible but reduced coherence level will notice the specific quality of the 33-minute window, producing a different interior state than the state that precedes the window. The post-session interior state has a different quality from the pre-session interior state at the coherence level. The difference is perceptible. It is not dramatic in the first 6 days. It is specifically perceptible to the interior that is attending to the interior quality with the honest attention of the full depth reception orientation. The 3 specific changes I have described, the calling orientation forward horizon of the adjusted carrier condition, the first perceptible backlog release of the listening backlog condition, and the progressive coherence quality difference of the suppressed coherence condition, are the specific daily experience changes that the two who are at the threshold level with the 3 conditions will encounter in the first 7 days of the concentrated period protocol, not the general positive improvement. These 3 specific changes for these 3 specific conditions. After day 7 comes day 14, the signal sharpening and the reception quality restoration. This is the second interval marker, and it is qualitatively different from the first interval marker in a specific way. The day 7 marker is the marker of the coherence restoration in progress. The day 14 marker is the marker of the coherence restoration, completing the second phase. The second phase is the phase of the synchronized coherence, reaching the threshold level at which the interior can receive the full quality of the DABA signal that has been at the signal level throughout the test season. The reception quality at day 14 is the specific interior experience that Dr. Barone described in his clinical observations as the retuning experience. The interior at day 14 has the synchronized coherence at the level at which the signal reception is qualitatively clearer than at the management mode baseline. The calling that was at the suppressed reception quality level at the beginning of the concentrated period is at the clearer reception quality level at day 14. The direction that was present as a general direction impulse is at day 14 a specific direction signal, not the full vision of the path. The specific direction signal. The specific direction signal at day 14 is the interior experience that the two will recognize as the beginning of the end of the adjusted carrier mode. The adjusted carrier mode is sustained by the coherence suppression. When the coherence reaches the day 14 level, the management orientation of the adjusted carrier mode cannot maintain the same ceiling pressure level because the coherence level has restored above the threshold at which the management orientation produces the ceiling pressure as the default. The ceiling begins to open. The ceiling opening is the specific interior experience that produces the forward orientation shift at day 14, not the full opening, the beginning of the opening. The interior that has been oriented toward the management horizon for the duration of the test season begins to orient toward the horizon beyond the management ceiling. The beyond ceiling horizon is the horizon of the calling. The interior begins to see the calling horizon directly rather than through the management ceiling filter. The testimonials from the 3 who completed the 21-day concentrated period protocol speak to this interval specifically. A woman from San Diego, a nurse who completed the protocol during the winter season, described day 14 as the morning, when she woke with a specific quality of the forward orientation that she had not experienced in approximately 14 months. She described the specific quality as the quality of seeing the next step with the clarity of the step, rather than the clarity of the management of not taking the wrong step. The distinction she named, seeing the step with the clarity of the step, rather than the clarity of managing not taking the wrong step, is the specific interior description of the day. 14. Forward orientation. Shift from the management orientation to the calling orientation. The management orientation clarity is the clarity of threat avoidance. The calling orientation clarity is the clarity of the specific step. Different qualities of clarity. She described the difference precisely. A man from Houston, a business owner who began the protocol in the adjusted carrier mode at the ceiling pressure level, described day 14 as the first day in the concentrated period when the calling and the daily work existed in the same interior space, rather than in the alternating interior spaces of the management mode. The management mode had produced the alternating structure, the calling present when the daily work was suspended, and the daily work present when the calling was suspended. Day 14 produced the simultaneous interior presence of both. The simultaneous interior presence of the calling and the daily work is the specific interior marker of the coherence level at day 14. The coherence suppression produces the alternating structure. The coherence restoration produces the simultaneous structure. He described the simultaneous structure as the specific quality that he had been seeking in the management mode through the alternating structure and had not been able to reach through the management orientation approach. The management orientation approach cannot produce the simultaneous structure because the management orientation is the alternating structure. Only the coherence restoration produces the simultaneous structure. A woman from Manhattan, an interior whose generational pattern I described in the first section of this message, described the day 14 marker as the first day when the generational pattern became visible as a pattern from the interior rather than visible only from the exterior feedback of others. The coherence restoration at day 14 produced the interior perspective that allowed her to see the pattern from inside the pattern. The management mode perspective is the perspective from inside the pattern that cannot see the pattern. The coherence restoration produces the perspective that can see the pattern from inside it. 3 different interiors, 3 different test season configurations, 3 different specific descriptions, 1 interior event at day 14. The coherence restoration completing the second phase and producing the specific qualities that the management mode cannot produce. Day 21 is the vision clarity marker, the full coherence level. The interior that completes the 21-day concentrated period protocol reaches the coherence level at which the calling vision is present as a clear vision rather than as a suppressed and managed background impulse. Not the full implementation plan of the calling, the clear vision of the next season of the calling, the 1 to 3 year horizon of the specific next season rather than the general direction impulse of the suppressed coherence state. The vision clarity is the specific interior state that the concentrated period protocol was designed to produce. Dr. Barone designed the protocol from 20 years of clinical observation of the coherence restoration process across hundreds of interiors in the neurological coherence suppression condition. The design was specific to the interior that has the adjusted carrier mode and the listening backlog and the suppressed synchronized coherence as the 3 simultaneous conditions at the threshold level. The protocol is not a general coherence improvement program. It is the specific protocol for the specific threshold configuration of the 2. The vision clarity at day 21 is the beginning of the arriving move, not the arriving move itself, the beginning. The clear vision of the next season is the beginning of the departure from the adjusted carrier mode and the entrance into the calling orientation full expression. The interior that reaches the vision clarity at day 21 has the specific next step, visible as a clear step rather than as a managed aspiration. The clear step is the step that the calling orientation forward horizon has been pointing toward throughout the test season, under the management ceiling. The 21-day concentrated period protocol produces the interior arrival at the threshold of the beginning. The beginning of what the interior has been prepared for through the specific test season configuration that produced the 3 conditions. The conditions that were the preparation have been the burden. The protocol is the provision that uses the preparation to produce the beginning. The burden becomes the launch foundation. The 3 conditions that were the weight of the test season become the specific interior conditions that the concentrated period protocol uses to produce the arrival at the threshold. The beginning act for the 2 is the link in the description, the acquisition of the provision from the cellular knowing of the full depth reception, rather than from the analytical decision of the surface-level processing. Not a transaction, a reception. The reception of the provision that was prepared for the interior, that is one of the 2. The reception that proceeds from the quiet certainty of the cellular knowing rather than the conditional certainty of the management mode evaluation. The 2 who act from the cellular knowing beginning are the 2 who begin the 21-day concentrated period from the full quality of the full depth reception, not the beginning from the enthusiasm of the inspired surface. The beginning from the settled quiet of the cellular knowing foundation. The 2 who begin from the cellular knowing foundation begin the concentrated period from the specific interior quality that the message was designed to produce. And the beginning from that quality is the beginning that the message was prepared for the 2 to make. The 21-day journey from the cellular knowing beginning produces the 4 interior quality markers at the specific intervals that Dr. Barone identified across 20 years of clinical observation. The lightening at day 7, the signal sharpening and the reception quality restoration at day 14, the vision clarity at day 21. The two who begin from the cellular knowing foundation of the full depth reception will reach the lightening at day 7 with a specific quality of the confirmation that the beginning from the analytical decision does not produce. The lightening confirms the direction. The direction is the direction that the cellular knowing of the full depth reception pointed toward. The confirmation is therefore the confirmation of the cellular knowing. And the confirmation of the cellular knowing at day 7 is the specific quality of the two who began from the full depth reception. The two are the specific chosen ones for whom this message was prepared. The specific provision, the concentrated period protocol, the specific 21-day journey to the threshold of the arriving move, was prepared for the two who receive at the full depth. You are one of them. The other is watching at a different moment through a different path, but you are both arriving at the same destination from the same interior configuration at the same full depth reception quality. The quality of the two who receive at the full depth is the specific quality of the interior that was prepared by the test season for the specific threshold reception, not the quality of the best spiritual achiever. The quality of the interior that has been in the specific test season configuration that produces the 3 conditions at the threshold level simultaneously, the adjusted carrier mode at the ceiling pressure level, the listening backlog at the accumulation pressure level, the synchronized coherence at the perceptible but reduced level, all 3 at the threshold level simultaneously. The simultaneous threshold level of all 3 conditions is not a coincidence. It is the specific design of the test season preparation. The test season prepares all 3 conditions toward the threshold level through a single mechanism. The sustained left hemisphere management load. The sustained left hemisphere load produces the adjusted carrier mode through the management orientation. It produces the listening backlog through the reduced backlog processing capacity, and it produces the suppressed synchronized coherence through the sustained left hemisphere dominance. 1 mechanism, 3 threshold conditions. The test season produced all 3 through the single mechanism, and the provision addresses all 3 through the single mechanism restoration. The synchronized coherence restoration of the daily session reduces the left hemisphere dominance, which reduces the management orientation of the adjusted carrier mode, which increases the backlog processing capacity, which clears the listening backlog. 1. Provision. 1 mechanism. 3 conditions restored. The elegance of the 1 mechanism explanation is the specific interior quality that the two will recognize as the truth of the cellular knowing rather than the argument of the persuasion. The surface level reception evaluates the 1 mechanism explanation as an interesting framework. The full depth reception recognizes it as the accurate description of the actual interior mechanism that has been producing the 3 conditions throughout the test season. The recognition is the cellular knowing. The cellular knowing is the evidence of the full depth reception. The full depth reception is the evidence of the two. You are one of the two. The cellular recognition of the 1 mechanism explanation as the accurate description of your actual interior experience is the specific confirmation that you are receiving at the full depth. That specific confirmation is the specific evidence that this message was prepared for your interior, and the provision that this message is pointing toward was prepared for the interior that receives at the full depth. You are that interior. The provision is here. There is a specific provision detail that I have not yet addressed in the depth that the two who are receiving at the full depth deserve. The neural sync technology that Dr. Barone engineered into the Genius switch is not the general category of acoustic neural influence. It is the specific technology that targets the synchronized coherence restoration mechanism directly. The specific mechanism that the neural sync technology addresses is the corpus callosum signal coordination. The corpus callosum is the neural bridge that coordinates the left and right hemisphere signal exchange. The sustained left hemisphere dominance of the test season reduces the corpus callosum signal coordination efficiency. The neural sync technology is designed to produce the corpus callosum signal coordination restoration through the specific acoustic architecture of the daily session. The whole brain activation state is the interior state of the two at the threshold level before the test season began. The test season produced the departure from the whole brain activation state through the sustained left hemisphere management load. The concentrated period protocol produces the return to the whole brain activation state through the corpus callosum coordination restoration. The return to the whole brain activation state is not the return to the identical interior state that preceded the test season. It is the return to the whole brain activation state in the interior that has been prepared by the test season. The test season preparation is not erased by the restoration, it is integrated. The interior that arrives at the whole brain activation state after the 21-day concentrated period protocol has the test season preparation integrated into the whole brain activation operating level. The calling capacity at the post-protocol level is higher than the calling capacity at the pre-test season level because the preparation has been integrated. This is the specific design of the test season that the management mode cannot see from inside the management orientation. From inside the management orientation, the test season looks like the extended delay of the calling, the extended period of the management, rather than the expression. From the threshold level of the full depth reception, the test season looks different. It looks like the specific preparation that the whole brain activation state will integrate as calling capacity when the coherence restoration is complete. The weight of the test season is the weight of the preparation, and the preparation is not lost. It is the foundation of the arriving. The science foundation of the Genius switch rests on the work that the neurological research community has validated across decades of serious inquiry into the hemisphere coordination question. Dr. Roger Sperry received the Nobel Prize in 1981 for his research on the split brain phenomenon and the hemisphere specialization model. His work established the foundational understanding of the left and right hemisphere functions and the coordination mechanism that produces the integrated higher cognitive state. Dr. Barone built his neural sync technology on the Sperry Foundation, applying it to the specific coherence restoration question rather than the general hemisphere function description. The Nobel Prize lineage is not a marketing reference. It is the specific intellectual ancestry of the approach. The academic community that has studied hemisphere coordination since the Sperry work has produced a body of research that validates the direction of the approach that Dr. Barone developed into the concentrated period protocol. The two, who are receiving at the full depth, are not simply responding to the authority of the Nobel Prize citation. They are recognizing the specific correspondence between the scientific foundation and the interior experience they have been having during the test season. The interior experience of the test season maps precisely onto the Sperry-derived description of the sustained hemisphere dominance condition. The interior that has been in the sustained left hemisphere management load condition experiences the specific interior qualities that the sustained dominance produces. The analytical processing dominance, the reduced pattern recognition, the reduced intuitive signal reception, the reduced calling signal clarity, the reduced global perspective, The reduced integration of the interior, knowing with the analytical processing, these are the specific interior qualities of the sustained left hemisphere dominance that the test season produces. The two who have been in the test season condition will recognize this mapping, not as a technical description of something external to their interior experience, as the accurate technical language for what they have been experiencing as the interior condition of the test season. The reduced pattern recognition is the condition that has produced the specific frustration of the calling that the two have been naming to themselves as the inability to see what the next step is. The reduced intuitive signal reception is the condition that has produced the specific experience of the calling, being present but not clearly receivable. The technical language maps onto the interior experience precisely. The 4 bonuses that come with the provision are specific to the interior conditions of the two at the threshold level. They are not general enhancement additions to a core product. They are the specific protocol extensions that address the 4 dimensions of the concentrated period journey that the core product does not cover by itself. I want to name what each bonus addresses and why the two at the threshold level will recognize the specific correspondence. The first bonus addresses the compass recalibration protocol. The compass recalibration is the specific daily practice that orients the interior toward the calling direction from the management direction during the 21-day concentrated period, not the general spiritual orientation practice. The specific practice that uses the coherence restoration produced by the daily session to establish the calling direction orientation before the management mode reasserts the management ceiling. The timing of the compass recalibration within the daily 33-minute window is specific. The first bonus gives the exact timing and the exact practice for the recalibration. The second bonus addresses the dabar discipline. Dabar is the Hebrew word for the active spoken word, the living word that carries directive energy rather than the general information word. The dabar discipline is the specific practice of receiving and responding to the dabar signal that the coherence restoration makes accessible. The listening backlog clearance requires not only the coherence restoration, but the specific practice of the dabar discipline to process the backlog items at the full depth. The second bonus gives the specific dabar discipline protocol for the 21-day concentrated period. Without the dabar discipline protocol, the backlog clearance proceeds at the standard rate. With the protocol, the backlog clearance proceeds at the accelerated rate that produces the full backlog release by day 14. The third bonus addresses the generational pattern clearance. This is the bonus that the two who have this interior configuration will recognize as the specific provision for their specific condition. The generational pattern is not cleared by the coherence restoration alone. The coherence restoration produces the interior perspective on the pattern. The third bonus gives the specific practice for the clearance of the generational pattern from the interior operating level, using the coherence restoration perspective as the foundation. The two who have the generational pattern condition will recognize the third bonus as the specific provision for the specific thing that has been present at the background level throughout the test season. The fourth bonus addresses the vision clarity documentation practice. The vision clarity that arrives at day 21 needs a specific documentation practice to be captured accurately and completely in a form that the interior can use for the direction of the post-protocol season. The vision clarity state is a high coherence state that produces the clear perception of the calling direction for the next 1 to 3 year horizon. Without the documentation practice, the high coherence state vision is experienced and then partially lost in the transition back to the daily operating level. The fourth bonus gives the specific documentation practice that captures the vision clarity completely in a retrievable and actionable form. The four bonuses, together with the core protocol, give the complete architecture for the 21-day concentrated period journey, from the threshold level of the three conditions to the vision clarity of the day. 21 arrival, not a partial protocol. The complete protocol, the core product, restores the coherence. The four bonuses guide the interior through the compass recalibration, the DABAR discipline, the generational pattern clearance, and the vision clarity documentation. The complete architecture. The two receive the complete architecture at the price point that reflects the specific decision of Dr. Barone to make the provision accessible to the interior that is at the threshold level of the test season, rather than to the interior that has the luxury capital to invest in the general wellness category. The genius switch is not for everyone. It is for the chosen one, who has been carrying the calling at the ceiling pressure level of the extended test season, who has the listening backlog at the accumulation pressure level, who has been experiencing the suppressed synchronized coherence as the daily interior condition of the faithful but diminished reception, not the ambitious interior seeking performance. The prepared interior at the simultaneous threshold of all three conditions. If that is your interior, this provision was prepared for you. The list price of the Genius Switch is $49. The present price, through the description link, is $39. The anchor price of the equivalent neurological consultation in the clinical setting where Dr. Barone works is $500 for the initial consultation alone. The $39 price through the description link is not the discount marketing price. It is the specific access price that Dr. Barone established for the interior that is at the threshold level of the three conditions. The clinical observation that motivates the access price is the observation that the interior at the threshold level with the three simultaneous conditions is the interior that is at the specific readiness level for the complete 21-day protocol and will use it at the full depth. The interior that is not at the threshold level will not use it at the full depth. The $39 access price is the specific match between the price and the depth of use. The 100% money-back guarantee is the specific confidence expression that corresponds to the precision of the protocol. Dr. Barone offers the complete refund within the 60-day window because the interior that uses the protocol at the full depth in the 21-day concentrated period produces the specific interior markers at the specific intervals. Day 7, lightening. Day 14, signal sharpening. Day 21, vision clarity. If the interior does not produce these specific markers, the protocol has not worked for that specific interior configuration, and the refund is the appropriate response. The guarantee is the confidence that the protocol works for the threshold level configuration, and the threshold level configuration is the configuration of the two. The two who are watching this message are at the threshold level configuration. The cellular knowing has confirmed this throughout the reception of this message. The four interior qualities during the reception, the cellular yes, the relief, the forward orientation, and the quiet certainty, are the specific markers of the threshold level configuration. The interior that is not at the threshold level does not produce all four qualities simultaneously during the reception of this message. The two who are watching right now are producing all four. That is the specific evidence that the guarantee applies to the interior of the two. There is a specific warning that the two need to hear before proceeding to the description link. The Genius Switch is distributed exclusively through the official channels. It is not available through YouTube purchases. It is not available through Spotify. It is not available through the general digital marketplace. The only authentic source for the Genius Switch and the four bonuses is the link in the description of this message. The counterfeit versions that circulate through unofficial channels do not contain the neural sync technology that Dr. Barone engineered into the authentic product. They contain the general category of audio content without the specific corpus callosum coordination targeting that the neural sync technology provides. The counterfeit distinction is not a technical footnote. It is the specific protection of the investment of the $39 that the two are about to make from the cellular knowing of the full depth reception. The interior that purchases from an unofficial channel is not acquiring the authentic provision. The description link leads to the official acquisition page. The two who navigate to the acquisition page from the description link will encounter the specific options for the acquisition. The options are presented clearly. The pricing reflects the $39 present access price. The bonuses are presented as the 4 specific additions that accompany the core product. The guarantee is presented as the 60-day complete refund window. The acquisition is a one-time transaction. No subscription, no recurring billing. One transaction. The complete protocol. The full 21-day concentrated period architecture. The two who complete the acquisition from the description link will receive immediate access to the sessions and the 4 bonus protocols. The access is digital and immediate, not a shipping wait, not a delivery window. The acquisition completes and the access begins at that moment. The two who begin the concentrated period on the day of the acquisition begin it from the full quality of the full depth reception state that the watching of this message has produced. The full depth reception state is the optimal beginning state. The beginning today is the beginning from the optimal state. What the two carry into the first session is not the transaction. It is the interior state of the honest completion, the cellular knowing settled, the threshold horizon open, the 3 conditions named and received at the full depth. That interior state is the foundation the daily practice builds from through all 21 days. The link in the description is the next act from that foundation. The tool is the bridge. The interior state of the two is the beginning. Let me speak to the specific question that the management mode evaluation raises at this stage of the message. The management mode evaluation produces the timing question. Is this the right time to begin the 21-day concentrated period given the specific demands of the current management season? The management mode timing question is the question that the adjusted carrier at the ceiling pressure level raises when the provision is accurately named and the cellular knowing has formed. The management mode evaluation asks whether the 33-minute daily window is available in the current management schedule. The timing question of the management mode is the ceiling pressure question. The ceiling is the management schedule. The management schedule is the product of the adjusted carrier mode. The adjusted carrier mode produces the management schedule that does not have the 33-minute daily window as a natural opening, because the adjusted carrier mode is the management mode. The management mode does not schedule the concentrated period for itself. The management mode schedules more management. The answer to the management mode timing question is the threshold answer rather than the management answer. The threshold answer is this. The 33-minute daily window is not an addition to the management schedule. It is the replacement of the 33 minutes of the management schedule that produces the lowest coherence return. Every management schedule has the 33-minute slot that produces the lowest coherence return per minute of management investment. The concentrated period protocol replaces that slot, not the total schedule, the lowest return slot. The interior, at the threshold level with the 3 conditions, is the interior that can identify the lowest return slot in its management schedule, with the precision that the concentrated period protocol requires for the slot. Replacement. The two are at the threshold level. The two can identify the slot. The slot identification is the first practical act of the 21-day concentrated period beginning, not the modification of the management schedule. The replacement of the lowest return slot with the highest coherence return investment. One slot, 33 minutes. The beginning. The specific quality of the threshold level that makes the beginning possible now, rather than after the management season, is the quality of the readiness convergence. The readiness convergence is the specific interior state that produces the simultaneous arrival of all three conditions at the threshold level. The three conditions at the simultaneous threshold level is the specific interior state that the concentrated period protocol was designed for. Below the simultaneous threshold, the protocol works, but at reduced efficiency. At the simultaneous threshold, the protocol works at the full efficiency of the 21-day architecture. The two who are watching this message right now are at the simultaneous threshold level. The algorithm found this message, and the two because the digital behavior pattern of the two corresponds to the simultaneous threshold level interior configuration. The simultaneous threshold is the readiness convergence. The readiness convergence is now, not approaching, not past, now. The beginning, now, is the beginning at the optimal level. The beginning that delays past the readiness convergence is the beginning at a lower efficiency level, because the readiness convergence does not persist indefinitely. The readiness convergence window is the specific duration of the simultaneous threshold level. Dr. Barone observed across 20 years of clinical work that the readiness convergence window for the specific three-condition configuration has a specific duration range. The interior at the simultaneous threshold level maintains the readiness convergence window for a period of days to weeks, depending on the specific interior conditions and the specific management season intensity. The ceiling pressure level of the adjusted carrier mode affects the duration. The accumulation pressure level of the listening backlog affects the duration. The specific level of the suppressed coherence affects the duration. The two who are watching this message are in the readiness convergence window. The beginning of the concentrated period protocol within the readiness convergence window is the beginning that the window was designed for. The beginning outside the readiness convergence window is still the beginning, but it is the beginning at the post-convergence interior configuration rather than the convergence interior configuration. The post-convergence interior configuration has shifted from the simultaneous threshold level to one of the three conditions regressing below the threshold level, which reduces the protocol efficiency for that specific condition. The beginning within the readiness convergence window is the specific act that the full-depth reception of this message is preparing the two for, not a generalized call to action. The specific act of the beginning within the window. The window is open now. The two who are watching are in the window. The beginning from the window, from the cellular knowing, from the full-depth reception state, is the specific beginning that this message was prepared to produce in the interior of the two. That beginning is available through the link in the description. I want to address what the interior of the two looks like after the readiness convergence window closes without the beginning, not to create the pressure of the false urgency. To give the two the honest interior picture that allows the full-depth decision rather than the management mode decision. The interior, after the readiness convergence window closes without the beginning, is the interior that has returned to the management mode from the threshold level without using the threshold level for the beginning. The management mode receives the return without comment. The management mode does not register the readiness convergence window as a missed event. The management mode simply continues from the point of return. The adjusted carrier mode continues at the ceiling pressure level. The listening backlog continues at the accumulation pressure level. The synchronized coherence continues at the perceptible but reduced level. What changes after the window closes is subtle, not dramatic. The three conditions are still the three conditions, but the simultaneous threshold level does not return automatically. The simultaneous threshold level is the convergence of a specific preparation across all three conditions. The preparation for the convergence continues after the window closes, but the convergence itself requires the next preparation cycle. The next preparation cycle is the next interval of the test season that brings all three conditions back to the simultaneous threshold level. The duration of the next preparation cycle depends on the specific interior configuration. For the interior that is at the ceiling pressure level of the adjusted carrier mode at the time of the readiness convergence, the next preparation cycle has the specific quality of the ceiling pressure that has not been released. The ceiling pressure that has been at the ceiling level through the readiness convergence window continues through the next preparation cycle, at the same ceiling pressure level or at the higher ceiling pressure level that the continuing management load produces. The ceiling pressure accumulates. The next readiness convergence requires either the coherence, restoration, or the significant exterior change to the management load. This is not the picture of the permanently closed door. It is the honest picture of the cost of the delayed beginning. The two who receive at the full depth understand the cost, not as a threat, as the accurate information that the full depth decision requires. The management mode decision avoids the accurate information of the cost. The full depth decision includes it, because the full depth decision is made from the cellular knowing rather than from the management mode evaluation. And the cellular knowing includes the accurate interior picture. The accurate interior picture for the two is this. The readiness convergence window is open now. The three conditions are at the simultaneous threshold level now. The beginning within the window is the beginning at the full efficiency of the 21-day concentrated period protocol. The beginning outside the window is not impossible. It is not the beginning at the full efficiency of the simultaneous threshold level convergence. The two who have arrived at the simultaneous threshold level through the specific preparation of the test season have the specific opportunity to begin from the convergence. The window is now. There is a quality of the interior experience that I want to name for the two at this stage of the message. The quality is the quality of the knowing without the argument. The cellular knowing that the full depth reception has produced in the interior of the two does not require the continuing argument for the beginning. The management mode evaluation requires the continuing argument. The argument must be sustained to produce the management mode decision. Without the sustained argument, the management mode evaluation returns to the null position of the continuing management. The cellular knowing does not require the continuing argument. It is the knowing, not the conclusion of the argument. The knowing that is present before the argument begins and that does not diminish when the argument ends. The two who have been watching this message have been watching from the interior of the cellular knowing that formed during the first section of the message. The cellular knowing has been present throughout the watching. It has not required the argument to sustain it. It has sustained itself at the level of the quiet certainty. The quiet certainty of the cellular knowing is the specific interior quality that the two will act from when the watching of this message ends, not the enthusiasm of the inspired moment. The quiet certainty of the interior that knows at the depth below the enthusiasm. The enthusiasm is the surface quality of the full depth reception. The quiet certainty is the deep quality. The quiet certainty is the quality that sustains the 21-day concentrated period through the days when the enthusiasm is not present. Because the 21-day concentrated period has the days when the enthusiasm is not present. The protocol is designed for the interior that begins from the quiet certainty rather than from the enthusiasm. The interior that begins from the enthusiasm sustains the protocol through the enthusiasm and then evaluates the protocol from the management mode when the enthusiasm diminishes. The management mode evaluation of the protocol during the low enthusiasm days produces the management mode decision about the protocol continuation. The management mode decision about the protocol continuation is the ceiling pressure decision. The ceiling pressure decision defaults toward the continuation of the management orientation rather than the calling orientation protocol. The interior that begins from the quiet certainty sustains the protocol through the quiet certainty on the low enthusiasm days. The quiet certainty is not dependent on the enthusiasm level. The quiet certainty is the cellular knowing. The cellular knowing does not diminish with the enthusiasm. The protocol continuation from the quiet certainty foundation is the protocol continuation that reaches day 14 and day 21, from the foundation that was laid at the beginning from the cellular knowing. That foundation is the specific quality of the beginning that this message was designed to produce in the interior of the two. The two who are watching right now are at the quiet certainty level, not approaching it, at it. The quiet certainty is the specific interior state that the full depth reception produces when the provision for the three conditions is accurately named and the cellular knowing of the provision is fully formed. The two who are at the quiet certainty level are the two who are ready to begin from the foundation that the 21-day concentrated period protocol requires for the full efficiency journey. I want to speak directly to the interior that is one of the two as this section of the message approaches its close. The interior that is one of the two has been receiving this message at the full depth since the opening. The cellular yes has been present. The relief of the honest naming has landed. The forward orientation has opened to the threshold horizon. The quiet certainty has formed. These four interior qualities have been present throughout the watching. And the watching has not been the passive receiving of the spiritual content category. The watching has been the interior event of the accurate naming of the conditions that have been present in the interior of the two throughout the test season. The adjusted carrier mode has been named accurately. The listening backlog has been named accurately. The suppressed synchronized coherence has been named accurately. The provision for all three conditions through the single mechanism has been named. The 21-day concentrated period architecture has been described. The three interval markers have been named. The testimonials have spoken from the interior language of the two. The price and the guarantee and the four bonuses have been presented. The message has given the two everything that the full depth decision requires, not everything that the management mode evaluation requires. The management mode evaluation would require the external validation, the peer confirmation, the expert authority alignment, and the management mode compatibility assessment. The full depth decision requires the accurate naming of the interior conditions, the specific provision for the conditions, and the cellular knowing of the correspondence between the conditions and the provision. The message has given the full depth decision requirements. The two have received them at the full depth. The cellular knowing has formed. The quiet certainty is present. The readiness convergence window is open. The beginning is available through the link in the description. The beginning that the message was prepared to produce in the interior of the two is the beginning that the two are now ready to make. There is a specific dimension of the two that I have not yet addressed. The dimension of the specific preparation design, not the general preparation that the spiritual journey produces. The specific preparation that the test season produced in the interior of the two for the specific purpose of the calling that the two are carrying. The preparation is not the accidental byproduct of the difficulty of the test season. It is the intentional design of the test season. The difficulty was the mechanism of the design. But the design was not the difficulty. The design was the preparation. The preparation that the test season produced in the interior of the two is the specific interior capacity that the calling requires for the next season of its expression, not the general capacity for the calling. The specific capacity for the specific next season. The calling has a specific next season that requires a specific interior capacity that the two did not have at the beginning of the test season and now have at the end of it. The test season produced the specific capacity through the mechanism of the sustained three-condition configuration. Let me name what the specific interior capacities are that the test season produced in the two, not abstractly, with the specificity that the full depth reception of the two can receive and recognize. The first specific interior capacity the test season produced is the capacity for the full depth reception. The interior that has not been in the sustained left hemisphere management load condition does not have the full depth reception capacity at the same level as the interior that has been in it. The sustained management orientation produces the specific orientation toward the depth of the message rather than the surface of the message that the full depth reception requires. The two who are watching this message at the full depth reception level are watching it at that depth because the test season produced the full depth reception capacity in them, not the general spiritual depth. The specific interior configuration that makes the full depth reception of this specific message possible. The second specific interior capacity the test season produced is the capacity for the complete dabar recognition. The listening backlog at the accumulation pressure level is not only the condition of accumulated unprocessed dabar, it is also the interior configuration that produces the specific sensitivity to the dabar signal that the full depth reception requires. The interior that has not had the accumulation pressure does not have the same sensitivity to the dabar signal. The accumulation pressure produces the specific attentiveness to the signal that the calling requires for the next season. The backlog is not only the burden, it is also the preparation of the sensitivity instrument. The interior of the two has the heightened dabar sensitivity that the accumulation pressure produced. When the backlog clears through the concentrated period protocol, the heightened sensitivity remains, not the accumulation pressure, the sensitivity. The two carry the sensitivity instrument into the next season of the calling with the backlog cleared and the sensitivity heightened. That combination is the specific interior capacity for the complete dabar reception that the next season of the calling requires. The third specific interior capacity the test season produced is the capacity for the sustained calling expression under the management pressure. The interior that has not been in the adjusted carrier mode at the ceiling pressure level does not have the specific interior strength that the sustained calling expression under pressure requires. The adjusted carrier mode at the ceiling pressure produces the specific interior training of the calling expression capacity. The calling expression under the management ceiling pressure is harder than the calling expression without the ceiling, and the interior that sustains the calling expression under the ceiling develops the specific capacity for the calling expression in the environments that will not support it easily. The next season of the calling for the two will not be the calling expression in the fully supportive environment. The calling rarely enters a fully supportive environment immediately at the beginning of the expression season. The next season will have the resistance of the environment that is not yet aligned with the calling. The interior that was trained by the adjusted carrier mode at the ceiling pressure has the specific capacity to express the calling into the resistant environment that the untrained interior does not have. The test season produced the training. The training is the preparation for the specific next season. The three specific interior capacities, the full depth reception capacity, the heightened dabar sensitivity, and the sustained calling expression under pressure, are the specific preparation that the test season produced for the specific next season of the calling of the two. The next season requires all three. The test season produced all three. The design is the correspondence between the preparation and the requirement. The interior that recognizes the design correspondence is the interior that receives the test season honestly as the preparation rather than as the interruption. The management mode receives the test season as the interruption. The full depth reception receives the test season as the preparation. The two who are watching this message at the full depth are at the threshold of receiving the test season as the preparation, not completely. The full reception of the test season as the preparation is the post-protocol interior event. It arrives with the vision clarity at day 21, but the beginning of the reception is available now at the threshold level, and the two can feel the beginning of it. I want to speak to what the calling looks like on the other side of the 21-day concentrated period for the two, not as the motivating vision of the management mode, as the honest interior picture that the threshold level reception can receive and recognize without the distortion of the management mode evaluation. The calling on the other side of the 21-day concentrated period for the two looks like the calling that has always been the calling, but received at the clarity level rather than the suppressed level. Not a different calling. The same calling at a different reception quality. The calling that has been present at the background level throughout the test season, pressing against the management ceiling, accumulating in the listening backlog, attempting to transmit through the reduced coherence. That calling is the calling on the other side. The same calling, received clearly. The reception quality of the calling at the post-protocol level is the specific interior experience that the three testimonials describe at day 21. She described the post-protocol calling reception as the specific quality of the calling that she recognized as the calling she had always carried, but which she had been receiving at the management mode level rather than the calling level throughout the preceding 14 months. He described the post-protocol calling reception as the simultaneous clarity of the calling and the daily work in the same interior space, which he had been seeking through the alternating management mode approach without reaching it. She described the post-protocol calling reception as the interior freedom from the generational pattern filter, which had been shaping her reception of the calling through a template that was not her calling, but her inherited management orientation. 3 different descriptions, 3 different interiors, 1 interior event at day 21, the calling received at the post-protocol clarity level through the restored synchronized coherence. The 3 descriptions together give the full picture of what the calling on the other side of the 21-day concentrated period looks like from the interior of the 3 specific condition configurations that correspond to the 3 conditions of the 2. The calling on the other side is the beginning, not the completion, the beginning. The post-protocol vision clarity is the clear vision of the next season of the calling, 1 to 3 years. The specific direction, the specific first step. The specific quality of the interior that is now operating from the whole brain activation state rather than the management mode state. The beginning of the next season from the whole brain activation state is qualitatively different from the beginning of the next season from the management mode state. Not just more effective, qualitatively different in the interior experience of the beginning. The management mode beginning is the beginning that requires the sustained effort to overcome the management orientation. The whole brain activation beginning is the beginning that emerges from the synchronized coherence of the calling and the doing in the same interior space simultaneously. The management mode beginning is effortful. The whole brain activation beginning is naturally oriented, not without effort, without the specific friction of the management orientation that is working against the calling direction. The friction that the management mode beginning requires is the friction of working against the grain of the management orientation. The whole brain activation beginning works with the grain of the restored calling orientation. The two who receive at the full depth understand the difference between the effortful management mode beginning and the naturally oriented whole brain activation beginning, not abstractly. From the interior experience of the test season has been the effortful management mode beginning repeatedly applied to the calling expression and repeatedly producing the management mode results rather than the calling orientation results. The two know this experience, not as a concept, as the interior experience of the specific test season they have been in. The naturally oriented whole brain activation beginning is the interior experience that the test season has been preventing through the coherence suppression. The two have been reaching for the naturally oriented beginning through the management mode approach and have been unable to reach it because the management mode approach cannot produce the naturally oriented beginning. The naturally oriented beginning requires the whole brain activation state. The management mode is not the whole brain activation state. The coherence restoration is the bridge from the management mode to the whole brain activation state. The concentrated period protocol is the bridge. Let me speak to a specific aspect of the two that distinguishes them from the interior that finds this message but does not receive at the full depth. The specific aspect is the aspect of the interior honesty. The two who receive at the full depth have a specific quality of the interior honesty that the management mode reception does not have. The interior honesty is the capacity to receive the accurate naming of the interior conditions without the management mode defense mechanism. The management mode defense mechanism is the specific interior response that the adjusted carrier mode produces when the interior conditions are named accurately. The defense mechanism has two forms. The first form is the minimization response. The minimization response names the conditions as present, but at a lower level than they are actually present. The interior is not at the ceiling pressure level, it is just busy. The interior does not have a listening backlog, it just has a lot going on. The interior is not experiencing coherence suppression, it just needs more rest. These are the minimization responses of the management mode defense mechanism. The second form of the management mode defense mechanism is the projection response. The projection response names the conditions as produced by the exterior circumstances rather than as interior conditions. The management ceiling is the ceiling of the exterior circumstances rather than the interior management orientation. The listening backlog is the backlog of exterior demands rather than the interior accumulation of unprocessed dabar. The coherence suppression is the result of the exterior stress rather than the interior left hemisphere dominance condition. The projection response attributes the conditions to the exterior so that the interior does not have to change to address them. The exterior is the variable to be managed. The interior stays the same. Both forms of the management mode defense mechanism prevent the full depth reception of the accurate naming. The minimization response receives the accurate naming at the reduced level. The projection response receives the accurate naming as exterior commentary. Neither form produces the cellular knowing of the interior condition that the full depth reception produces. The two who are receiving at the full depth have allowed the accurate naming to land at the interior level rather than at the management mode defense level. This is the specific interior honesty of the two, not a spiritual virtue, an interior capacity. The capacity to receive the honest weight of the interior conditions without the defense mechanism reducing or projecting the weight. The two who have watched this message to this point with the cellular yes and the relief and the forward orientation and the quiet certainty have allowed the honest weight to land. They have not minimized the conditions. They have not projected them onto the exterior. They have received The honest naming at the interior level. This is the specific interior capacity that makes the two, not the spiritual achievement of the honest reception. The interior configuration of the threshold level that makes the honest reception possible at the depth of the two. The management mode defense mechanism is weaker at the threshold level of the three conditions than it is at the management mode operating level. The threshold level is the level at which the interior is too close to the honest condition to sustain the defense mechanism effectively. The two are at that level. The defense mechanism has given way to the honest reception. The specific experience of the honest reception without the defense mechanism is the experience of the weight without the management of the weight. The management mode defense mechanism manages the weight of the honest conditions. The threshold level allows the weight to be present in the foreground without the management. The weight in the foreground without the management is heavier in one sense and lighter in another. Heavier because the management is not reducing it. Lighter because the management cost is not being added to the weight. The net interior experience of the honest weight without the management is the relief that I described in the second section of this message. The relief of the honest acknowledgement. The relief is the lightening produced by the removal of the management cost from the honest weight. The honest weight without the management cost is lighter than the managed weight, with the management cost added. The two who have been watching this message have been experiencing the progressive removal of the management cost as the accurate naming has landed at the interior level throughout the watching. The specific nature of the preparation that the test season produces is different for each of the two. The two share the three conditions at the threshold level simultaneously, but the specific content of the preparation that each condition produced in the specific interior of each of the two is unique to that interior. She carried the preparation of the 14 months of the healthcare service in the management mode. He carried the preparation of the business management in the management mode. She carried the preparation of the generational pattern management in the management mode. Three specific management mode burdens. Three specific preparations. The two who are watching this message carry their own specific management mode burden. The specific content of the adjusted carrier mode ceiling pressure is specific to each interior. The specific content of the listening backlog accumulation is specific to each interior. The specific content of the coherence suppression experience is specific to each interior. But the structure of the three conditions is the same threshold level structure in both of the two. The structure is the correspondence that the message was designed for. The specific content is the personal preparation that the calling requires. I want to name what the specific design purpose of the two people framing is in this message, not the rhetorical purpose, the interior purpose. The interior purpose of the two people framing is the specific interior event of the individual recognition. The individual recognition is the recognition that happens when the interior moves from the category of the spiritual content audience to the category of the specifically addressed individual. The addressed individual receives the message differently from the audience member. The audience member receives the message at the level of the relevant category. The spiritual content audience member who finds this message relevant receives it as the message that is relevant to a category of interior experience that includes their interior. The relevant category reception is the surface level reception. The two people framing produces the transition from the audience member reception to the individually addressed reception, not the two because they are the only audience members. The two because the full depth reception is the individual recognition reception rather than the category membership reception. The individually addressed reception is the reception at the depth of the specific naming, not the specific personal naming of the name on the birth certificate. The specific interior naming of the three conditions that are present in that specific interior at the specific threshold level configuration that the two have. The specific interior naming at the depth level is the specific address. The interior that is addressed at the specific depth recognizes the address as the individual recognition rather than the category membership recognition. The two who are watching this message are receiving it as the individual recognition rather than the category membership. This is the specific quality of the full depth reception that the two have been experiencing since the opening of the message. Not the quality of the relevant category, the quality of the individual address. The individual address is the address that speaks to the specific interior conditions of the specific interior rather than to the general category of the spiritual content audience. The individual address requires the specific naming, and the specific naming requires the specific knowledge of the interior conditions of the addressed individual. The message has the specific knowledge of the interior conditions of the two because the message was prepared for the two through the specific preparation of the content for the threshold level configuration of the three conditions. The threshold level configuration of the three conditions is the specific interior that the message addresses, and the two who are at the threshold level configuration are the two for whom the address is the individual address. This is not the claim that the message literally knows the personal history of the two who are watching. The message knows the interior architecture of the threshold level configuration, and the two who are at the threshold level configuration recognize the interior architecture as the accurate description of their specific interior. The recognition is the individual recognition, not because the message has the personal details. Because the interior architecture of the threshold level configuration is specific enough to function as the individual address for the interior that is at that exact configuration. The precision of the individual address is the specific quality that distinguishes this message from the general spiritual encouragement category. The general spiritual encouragement addresses the general spiritual journey audience with the general spiritual encouragement content. The general spiritual encouragement content is relevant to a broad category of the spiritual journey audience. The broad category relevance produces the surface level reception, not the full depth reception. The full depth reception requires the specific address. The specific address requires the precision of the individual recognition naming. The two who receive at the full depth receive the precision of the naming at the level of the individual recognition, and the individual recognition at the full depth level is the specific interior experience that produces the cellular knowing. The cellular knowing is not produced by the relevant category reception. It is produced by the individual recognition at the precision of the accurate interior naming. Let me speak to what the two carry into the concentrated period protocol from the full depth reception of this message, because the beginning from the full depth reception state is different from the beginning from the general spiritual inspiration state. The difference is not only the motivation quality. The interior that begins from the full depth reception state carries specific interior materials into the beginning that the interior that begins from the general spiritual inspiration state does not carry. The first interior material that the two carry into the beginning is the specific, honest acknowledgement of the three conditions, not the general awareness that there are interior conditions to address. The specific, honest acknowledgement of the adjusted carrier mode at the ceiling pressure level, the listening backlog at the accumulation pressure level, and the suppressed, synchronized coherence at the perceptible but reduced level. The specific, honest acknowledgement is the specific material that the compass recalibration and the backlog clearance and the neural sync technology sessions are designed to work with. The protocol works with specific material. The two bring the specific material. The second interior material that the two carry into the beginning is the cellular knowing of the specific provision for the three conditions, not the general hope that the product will help. The cellular knowing of the specific correspondence between the neural sync technology and the synchronized coherence restoration mechanism, between the compass recalibration protocol and the adjusted carrier mode sealing pressure, between the DABA discipline and the listening backlog clearance. The cellular knowing of the specific correspondence is the second interior material that makes the beginning from the full depth reception state qualitatively different. The protocol works with the cellular knowing as the foundation. The compass recalibration from the cellular knowing of its specific function produces the full compass recalibration effect. The backlog clearance from the cellular knowing of its specific function produces the full backlog release rate. The neural sync technology session from the cellular knowing of its specific function produces the full coherence restoration rate. The cellular knowing is the amplifier of the protocol efficiency. The two carry the cellular knowing into the beginning. The third interior material that the two carry into the beginning is the quiet certainty of the threshold readiness, not the confidence that the protocol will produce the results. The quiet certainty that the interior is at the specific threshold level for which the protocol was designed. The quiet certainty of the threshold readiness is the interior quality that sustains the protocol through the interval between the beginning and the day 7 lightening. The days 1 through 6 have the quiet certainty as the only sustaining interior quality in most sessions. The enthusiasm has reduced. The novelty has reduced. The quiet certainty remains. The interior that carries the quiet certainty of the threshold readiness through days 1 through 6 reaches day 7 with the quiet certainty intact. The day 7 lightening confirms the quiet certainty. The confirmed quiet certainty becomes the foundation for the days 7 through 14. The confirmed quiet certainty at the day 7 level is a stronger sustaining quality than the unconfirmed quiet certainty of days 1 through 6. The two who begin from the full depth reception state carry the quiet certainty into day 1, and the quiet certainty carries them through to day 7. The fourth interior material that the two carry into the beginning is the forward orientation of the threshold horizon. The threshold horizon forward orientation is the specific quality of the forward orientation that the full depth reception opens in the interior of the two, not the management horizon. The threshold horizon. The threshold horizon is the horizon beyond the management ceiling that the coherence restoration is pointing toward. The interior that begins the concentrated period protocol with the threshold horizon forward orientation is beginning with the calling direction orientation rather than the management orientation. The calling direction orientation at the beginning of the protocol produces the specific quality of the compass recalibration in the first daily window. The compass recalibration from the calling direction orientation is more efficient than the compass recalibration from the management orientation. The management orientation has to be reoriented. The calling direction orientation simply has to be stabilized and deepened. The two who begin from the threshold horizon forward orientation carry the beginning of the calling direction orientation into the compass recalibration. The protocol stabilizes and deepens what the full depth reception has already begun. The four interior materials that the two carry into the beginning, the specific honest acknowledgement, the cellular knowing of the correspondence, the quiet certainty of the threshold readiness, and the threshold horizon forward orientation together constitute the specific beginning quality that the concentrated period protocol was designed to work with. Dr. Barone observed in his clinical work that the concentrated period protocol produces the most efficient coherence restoration journey when the beginning carries these four interior materials. The beginning that carries fewer than four produces the coherence restoration journey at a lower efficiency. The beginning that carries all four produces the full 21-day architecture journey to the vision clarity. The two who are watching this message are accumulating all four interior materials through the watching of this message. The full depth reception is the process of the accumulation. The honest acknowledgement has formed through the accurate naming of the conditions. The cellular knowing has formed through the naming of the specific provision correspondence. The quiet certainty has formed through the sustained cellular yes throughout the watching. The threshold horizon forward orientation has formed through the opening of the forward orientation past the management ceiling. The progressive removal of the management cost is the specific interior quality that the watching of this message produces in the two, not the removal of the honest conditions. The removal of the management cost of the conditions. The conditions are still the three conditions at the threshold level, but the management cost has been progressively reduced as each accurate naming has landed at the interior level, and the interior without the management cost of the conditions is the interior that is lighter than the managed interior. The lighter interior is the threshold level interior that is closest to the naturally oriented whole brain activation beginning. The watching of this message has been the progressive reduction of the management cost of the three conditions through the accurate naming at the full depth level, not the solution. The reduction of the management cost. The solution comes through the concentrated period protocol, but the reduction of the management cost through the accurate naming is the preparation for the solution, and the preparation for the solution is the specific interior event that this message was designed to produce in the interior of the two. The interior of the two is at a specific moment in the watching of this message. The four interior materials have been accumulating throughout the watching. The specific, honest acknowledgement has formed. The cellular knowing has formed. The quiet certainty is present. The threshold horizon forward orientation is open. The interior is at the specific interior state that the message was designed to produce in the two, not the conclusion of the watching, the threshold of the beginning. The threshold of the beginning is a specific interior location, not a metaphorical location, an interior location that has specific qualities that the interior of the two can feel at the threshold level. The threshold of the beginning has the quality of the readiness without the launch. The interior is ready. The launch has not yet happened. The readiness and the not yet launched are both present simultaneously. That simultaneous quality is the specific interior experience of the threshold of the beginning. The threshold of the beginning is the most specific moment in the interior journey of the two, more specific than the readiness convergence, more specific than the three-condition threshold, more specific than the cellular knowing formation. All of those are interior conditions that the two have been in for a duration. The threshold of the beginning is the specific moment at which the interior has arrived at the readiness for the launch without having yet launched. The moment of the threshold of the beginning has a specific duration. It is longer than an instant. It is the duration of the interior settling that happens between the full readiness and the first act of the beginning. The interior settling of the threshold of the beginning is the specific interior quality that the four materials produce when they have fully accumulated. The honest acknowledgement settles. The cellular knowing settles. The quiet certainty settles. The threshold horizon settles. The settling of the four materials together is the threshold of the beginning interior state. The two who are watching this message are entering the settling, not having arrived at the full settling, entering it. And the entering is the specific interior experience that I want to address before the sacred closing section of this message. The entering of the settling is the interior experience that sometimes produces a specific interior resistance quality, not the management mode defense mechanism, a different quality. The settling resistance is the quality of the interior that has been in the management mode for the duration of the test season, encountering the threshold of the beginning as the approaching end of the management mode. The management mode does not want to end, not because the management mode is malicious, because the management mode is the interior orientation that the interior has been operating from for the duration of the test season. The approaching end of the management mode produces the settling resistance. The settling resistance is not the same as the resistance to the beginning. The resistance to the beginning is the management mode defense mechanism that says the beginning should not happen. The settling resistance says the beginning is real and approaching, and the management mode is registering the approach. The settling resistance is the evidence of the reality of the threshold, not the obstacle to the beginning, the evidence of the beginning. The interior that is not approaching the threshold does not have the settling resistance. The interior that is approaching the threshold has it. The two who are experiencing the settling resistance at this stage of the message are experiencing it as the evidence of the threshold arrival, not the obstruction. The evidence, the management mode, is registering the approaching end of the management mode orientation. The registration is the settling resistance, and the settling resistance is the specific interior quality that precedes the first act of the beginning for the interior that is at the threshold level. The first act of the beginning for the two is the specific act of the description link, the link in the description. The navigation to the description link and the acquisition of the provision from the cellular knowing of the full depth reception, not the analytical decision to purchase. The cellular reception of the provision that was prepared for the interior at the threshold of the beginning. The cellular reception act, the beginning. Let me speak to the specific interior experience of the first day of the 21-day concentrated period for the interior that begins from the threshold of the beginning state. The first day has a specific interior quality that the interior that begins from a different state does not have. The quality is the quality of the first session from the threshold of the beginning state. The first session from the threshold state has the specific quality of the interior that is beginning from the full accumulation of the four interior materials: the honest acknowledgement, the cellular knowing, the quiet certainty, and the threshold horizon. The first session from that specific accumulation produces the specific interior quality that Dr. Barone identified as the foundation quality. The foundation quality is the interior quality of the synchronized coherence restoration process beginning from the specific threshold level starting point, not from the general wellness baseline, from the three conditions simultaneous threshold level. The neural sync technology of the protocol is engineered for the specific starting point of the threshold level interior. The first session from the threshold level starting point engages the neural sync technology at the full efficiency of the threshold level starting point, not the general improvement rate. The full efficiency of the first session from the threshold level means that the coherence restoration begins at the full rate rather than at the warming rate. The interior that begins from below the threshold level has the warming rate for the first several sessions. The warming rate is the rate at which the neural sync technology is engaging the coherence mechanism from below the threshold level and bringing it to the threshold level before the full efficiency rate begins. The interior that begins from the threshold level begins at the full efficiency rate from the first session. The practical difference is that the interior that begins at the threshold level begins accumulating toward the day 7 lightening from the first session at the full rate. The day 7 lightening for the threshold level beginning interior tends to arrive earlier in the 7-day window than the day 7 lightening for the below threshold beginning interior. A woman from San Diego experienced the lightening at day 5. A man from Houston at day 6. A woman from Manhattan at day 7 exactly. The threshold level beginning produced the lightening at or before day 7 for all three. The quality of the lightening at day 5 or 6 or 7 is the same quality regardless of the specific day within the window. It is the quality of the calling orientation forward horizon replacing the management ceiling horizon in the morning orientation, not the dramatic transformation of the daily experience. The specific quality of the morning forward orientation being the calling direction rather than the management ceiling direction. The interior notices the difference because the management ceiling has been the morning forward orientation for the duration of the test season. The calling direction morning is the departure from the test season duration pattern. The departure is noticeable. The noticeable departure from the test season duration pattern at day 5 or 6 or 7 is the specific interior event that confirms the beginning from the threshold level, not the general progress confirmation. The specific confirmation that the neural sync technology is engaging the coherence mechanism from the threshold level starting point at the full efficiency rate. The two who begin from the threshold of the beginning state, from the 4 interior materials accumulated through the watching of this message, will notice the departure from the management ceiling morning orientation within the first 7 days. The second week of the concentrated period is the week of the signal sharpening. The days 8 through 14 are the days during which the DABA signal reception quality is progressively restoring from the perceptible but reduced level toward the clear signal level. The interior of the two during the second week is the interior that is processing the listening backlog progressively through the backlog clearance protocol, while the coherence is restoring toward the day 14 level. The combination of the backlog clearance and the coherence restoration in the second week produces the progressive signal quality increase. The progressive signal quality increase in the second week produces the specific interior experience of the calling signal becoming clearer day by day, not dramatically clearer each day, specifically clearer in the cumulative direction across the week. The interior that is attending to the interior quality with the attentiveness of the full depth reception orientation will notice the cumulative direction. The management mode does not notice cumulative direction. The full depth reception orientation notices it. The two who begin from the full depth reception state of the threshold of the beginning will attend to the interior quality with the full depth reception orientation throughout the second week. The attending to the interior quality with the full depth reception orientation during the second week is the specific interior act that the DABA discipline component of the concentrated period protocol supports. The DABA discipline is the practice of the active receptive orientation toward the DABA signal that the restoring coherence is making accessible, not the passive waiting for the signal. The active receptive orientation that the DABA discipline produces. The active receptive orientation attends to the signal actively while receiving it receptively. The combination of the active attending and the receptive receiving is the DABA discipline. The interior that practices the DABA discipline in the second week of the concentrated period, while the listening backlog is progressively clearing and the coherence is progressively restoring, is the interior that processes the backlog at the full DABA discipline rate. The full DABA discipline rate produces the full backlog release by day 14 rather than by day 21. The two who practice the DABA discipline fully in the second week experience the full backlog release at day 14 as the specific interior event of the complete shift from the backlog pressure to the open reception quality. The open reception quality at day 14 is the specific interior experience of the interior that has released the listening backlog and restored the coherence to the day 14 level simultaneously. The open reception quality is the interior state in which the DABA signal is received at the full clarity level, without the backlog pressure reduction and without the coherence suppression reduction. The full clarity of the Debar signal at the open reception quality level is the specific interior state that the interior of the two has been reaching toward throughout the test season without being able to reach it through the management mode approach. The full clarity of the Debar signal at day 14 is the interior experience that the two will recognize as the specific thing they have been missing throughout the test season, not a thing they did not know was missing. A thing they knew was missing but could not name with the precision that the full clarity experience provides. When the full clarity arrives at day 14, the interior of the two knows precisely what it had been unable to access throughout the test season. The backlog pressure and the coherence suppression together had been reducing the Debar signal clarity to the level at which it was present but not fully receivable. Day 14 is the first day of the full receivability. The third week of the concentrated period is the week of the vision clarity approach. The days 15 through 21 are the days during which the coherence is restoring, from the day 14 level to the full restoration level that produces the vision clarity at day 21. The interior of the two during the third week is the interior that is operating from the open reception quality of day 14 and the calling direction, morning orientation of the day 7, lightening, while the coherence continues to restore toward the full level. The third week, interior experience for the two, is the interior experience of the calling becoming visible as the specific next season rather than as the general calling direction. The general calling direction has been the interior experience throughout the second week at the open reception quality level. The specific next season begins to emerge in the third week as the coherence approaches the full restoration level. The emergence is gradual across the third week, not sudden at day 21, progressive across days 15 through 21, arriving at the full vision clarity at day 21. The third week is also the week of the fourth bonus practice. The vision clarity documentation practice begins in the third week as the vision clarity is emerging, not waiting until day 21 to begin the documentation, beginning in the third week as the clarity is emerging so that the documentation captures the emergence process as well as the arrival at day 21. The emergence documentation is the specific material that the interior uses for the direction of the first month of the post-protocol season. The arrival documentation at day 21 is the specific material for the 1 to 3 year horizon of the next calling season. The two who practice the vision clarity documentation in the third week of the concentrated period complete the 21-day journey with both the emergence documentation and the arrival documentation. The emergence documentation is the interior record of the calling visibility increasing across days 15 through 21. The arrival documentation is the interior record of the full vision clarity at day 21. Together, they are the complete interior record of the concentrated period journey, from the threshold of the beginning to the vision clarity, arrival. The texture of the 21-day concentrated period from the inside is different from the description of the 21-day concentrated period from the outside. The description from the outside is the architecture, the day 7, day 14, day 21 markers, the 3 conditions, the single mechanism, the 3 interval events. The description from the outside is the accurate map of the territory, but the territory from the inside has a specific texture that the map does not fully convey. I want to describe the interior texture of the 21-day concentrated period for the two, because the two who begin the concentrated period from the full depth reception state of this message will encounter the interior texture from the first day. And the interior texture is the specific experience that the two deserve to have described at the full depth level before the beginning, rather than only in retrospect at the completion. The interior texture of the first 3 days is the texture of the foundation laying. The first 3 sessions establish the neural sync technology foundation in the specific interior of the one who is practicing, not the general coherence improvement foundation. The specific foundation for the 3-condition threshold level interior. The foundation laying in the first 3 days has a specific interior quality. The quality is the quality of the preparation being recognized at the depth level as the specific thing that has been needed throughout the test season. Not a dramatic recognition in the first 3 days, a quiet recognition. The quiet recognition of the foundation laying is the interior experience of the honest acknowledgement of the 3 conditions being met with the specific provision at the cellular level for the first time. Not the first time the provision has been described. The first time the provision is being applied directly to the interior at the cellular level through the neural sync technology session. The cellular application of the provision is qualitatively different from the cellular knowing of the provision description. The interior texture of days 4 through 6 is the texture of the early coherence movement, not the dramatic movement, the early movement. The interior that is attending with the full depth reception orientation will notice the early coherence movement as the specific quality of the post-session interior state being slightly different from the pre-session interior state. Not transformatively different, specifically different in the direction of the coherence increase. The post-session interior has a slightly higher coherence level than the pre-session interior. The slightly higher coherence level produces the specific quality of the post-session 30 minutes, being different from the pre-session 30 minutes, in a way that the full depth reception orientation can identify. The identification of the early coherence movement in days 4 through 6 is the specific interior event that sustains the concentrated period practice through the early days, not the dramatic result that motivates the continuation. The specific early movement in the precise direction that the cellular knowing identified as the direction of the provision. The cellular knowing of the direction confirms the early movement as the movement in the right direction. The movement in the right direction is the sufficient sustaining evidence for the interior that is at the full depth reception orientation, not for the management mode orientation. The management mode requires more dramatic evidence to sustain the practice. The interior texture of day 7 is the texture of the first confirmation, the lightening, the departure from the management ceiling morning orientation to the calling direction morning orientation. I have described this event in the architecture description. The interior texture of it is different from the architecture description. The texture is the texture of the surprise of the familiar. The calling direction morning orientation is not new to the two. It was the morning orientation before the test season, but it has been absent for the duration of the test season. When it returns at day 7, the interior recognizes it as the familiar rather than as the new. The surprise is the surprise of the familiar returning, not the surprise of the new arriving. The surprise of the familiar returning is a specific interior quality. It is the quality that she described as the quality of the morning when she knew she was back, not arrived at a new place. Back at the place she had been before the test season began, the before the test season morning quality returned at day 7. The recognition of the returned familiar is the confirmation, and the confirmation is the specific interior event that ends the first interval of the concentrated period and begins the second. The interior texture of days 8 through 13 is the texture of the progressive receiving. The progressive receiving is the interior experience of the backlog items, releasing one by one through the backlog clearance protocol and the DABA discipline, not all at once. By each released backlog item has the specific interior quality of the full depth reception of a specific thing that has been present at the accumulation pressure level for a specific duration. The duration of each backlog item is specific to the item. Some items were added to the backlog early in the test season. Some were added more recently. The duration determines the specific weight of the released item. The progressive receiving of the backlog items through days 8 through 13 is the interior experience of the weight of the accumulation pressure, reducing progressively, not suddenly, progressively. Each item released reduces the accumulation pressure slightly. The cumulative reduction across days 8 through 13 is the specific interior experience of the listening capacity opening, not the full opening. The progressive opening that arrives at the full open reception quality at day 14. The interior texture of day 14 is the texture of the open field. The open field interior experience is the specific quality of the interior that has released the full listening backlog and restored the coherence to the day 14 level simultaneously. The open field quality is the quality of the interior in which the DABA signal is not meeting any reduction mechanisms, not the backlog pressure reduction, not the coherence suppression reduction. The signal arrives at the full quality. The interior receives at the full quality, the open field. The open field at day 14 has a specific quality that the interior of the two will recognize as the interior state that the calling requires for its full expression, not the management mode interior. The open field interior, the calling that has been attempting to transmit through the reduced reception quality throughout the test season, transmits at the full quality in the open field. The interior that receives the calling at the full quality at day 14 receives the specific calling signal that has been present at the background level throughout the test season, but has never been fully receivable until day 14. The interior texture of the third week is the texture of the vision approach. The vision approach is the interior experience of the calling vision becoming progressively clearer as the coherence continues to restore toward the full level. The vision approach has a specific quality for each day of the third week, not the same quality each day, a progressive quality. Day 15 has the quality of the first clear outline of the vision. Day 17 has the quality of the middle ground details beginning to emerge. Day 19 has the quality of the direction of the path becoming visible. Day 21 has the quality of the full vision clarity. The specific next season of the calling is visible at the full clarity. The interior texture of day 21 is the texture of the clear reception, not the excited reception, the clear reception. The two who arrive at day 21 from the threshold beginning of this message will receive the vision clarity at day 21 with the quiet certainty quality rather than the enthusiastic celebration quality, because the quiet certainty was the beginning quality and the quiet certainty is also the completion quality. The beginning and the completion have the same quality. The quiet certainty, the cellular knowing, the interior that began from the cellular knowing of the full depth reception arrives at the vision. Clarity from the cellular knowing of the vision. There is a specific quality of the 21-day concentrated period completion that I want to name for the two before the sacred closing section. The completion quality is not the quality of the achievement of a difficult discipline, not the quality of the completion of a 30-day challenge. The specific quality of the completion of the 21-day concentrated period protocol is the quality of the return to the interior state that the two were at before the test season began, the coherence suppression, the return to the whole brain activation state, The return to the calling orientation forward horizon. The return to the full dabar, signal reception, quality. The return quality is the specific interior experience that the two will have at day 21, not the experience of having arrived somewhere new, the experience of having returned to somewhere known. The whole brain activation state is the state that was the operating state of the two before the test season. The test season moved the interior from the whole brain activation operating state to the management mode operating state through the sustained left hemisphere dominance. The 21-day concentrated period moves the interior back to the whole brain activation operating state through the coherence restoration. The return quality at day 21 is the specific interior experience of the whole brain activation state as the familiar state, rather than the new state. The interior recognizes the whole brain activation state at day 21 as the state it was at before, not a new achievement, a recovered baseline. And the recovered baseline is the foundation of the beginning of the next calling season. The calling season begins from the recovered baseline, which is higher than the management mode baseline, because the test season preparation has been integrated into the recovered baseline. The integrated preparation at the recovered baseline is the specific quality that makes the post-protocol calling season different from the pre-test season calling expression. The pre-test season calling expression was at the whole brain activation state, without the test season preparation integrated. The post-protocol calling expression is at the whole brain activation state, with the test season preparation integrated. The three specific interior capacities that the test season produced, the full depth reception capacity, the heightened dabar sensitivity, and the sustained calling expression under pressure, are all integrated into the recovered whole brain activation baseline. The recovered baseline with the integrated preparation is the specific interior foundation that the two carry into the next calling season, not the foundation of the management mode that has been the operating foundation for the duration of the test season. The foundation of the whole brain activation state with the specific capacities of the test season integrated. The next calling season from that foundation is the beginning that this message was designed to point the two toward, and the path to that foundation is the 21-day concentrated period protocol beginning from the link in the description. We are at the sacred closing of this message, not the end of the message. The sacred closing is the specific section of the message that addresses the interior of the two at the threshold of the beginning, directly and completely, not the description of the threshold, not the map of the journey. The direct address to the interior that is at the threshold right now, watching this message at the full depth, carrying the four interior materials that the watching has produced. The sacred closing is the specific interior space that I want to create with the two before this message ends. The interior space of the sacred closing is the interior space of the honest naming and the specific provision and the beginning that is ready to be made. Not the space of the spiritual entertainment content, not the space of the general encouragement, the specific interior space that is created when the accurate naming of the conditions has been received at the full depth and the provision for the conditions has been acknowledged at the cellular knowing level, and the interior is at the threshold of the beginning act. You are one of two people who will ever receive this message at the full depth, not the audience of the general spiritual content category, not the broad community of the spiritually motivated, the two. The specific two, whose interior configuration, the three conditions at the simultaneous threshold level, makes the full depth reception of this specific message possible. You are one of them, the other one is watching this message at a different moment, a different day, a different interior starting point within the same threshold configuration, but the same depth, the same four interior materials forming, the same cellular knowing of the provision, the same quiet certainty settling, the same threshold horizon opening. The two have never met. They will not meet in the watching of this message, but they are at the same interior location, at the threshold of the same beginning. I want to speak to what you are, not what you are trying to become, not what the calling is asking you to grow into. What you are right now, at the threshold of the beginning, at the full depth reception, with the 4 interior materials fully accumulated through the watching of this message. You are the interior that has been prepared by the test season for the specific next season of the calling. The preparation is complete, not the performance of the calling, the preparation for the performance. The test season was the preparation. The preparation is the interior capacities that the test season produced in you. The full depth reception capacity, the heightened dabar sensitivity, the sustained calling expression capacity under pressure. All 3 are present in you right now. You did not earn them through the management mode. They were produced in you through the test season design. You are the interior that has been carrying the calling at the ceiling pressure level throughout the test season. The calling has been present in you throughout, not absent, not dormant, present, under the management ceiling, at the ceiling pressure level. The calling does not diminish during the test season, it accumulates. The accumulation pressure of the calling at the ceiling level through the duration of the test season is the accumulation that becomes the launch energy when the management ceiling opens, not the diminished calling. The accumulated calling, the launch energy, is proportional to the accumulation pressure. The test season produced the accumulation. The protocol opens the ceiling. The launch energy is yours. You are the interior that has been receiving the dabar signal at the reduced reception quality level throughout the test season, not the interior that has been deaf to the dabar. The interior that has been hearing the dabar at the backlog pressure and the coherence suppression levels. The signal has been present. The full quality has been unavailable. The backlog clearance and the coherence restoration through the concentrated period protocol restore the full quality, not the new signal, the existing signal at the full quality. The dabar that has been accumulating in the backlog is the dabar that was prepared for you for this season of the calling. It has been waiting at the backlog level. Day 14 releases it. You are the interior that the provision was prepared for. The provision, the neural sync technology, the 21-day concentrated period protocol, the 4 bonuses, the specific architecture for the 3-condition threshold level configuration. This provision was not prepared for the general spiritual improvement audience. It was prepared for the interior that has the adjusted carrier mode and the listening backlog and the suppressed synchronized coherence at the simultaneous threshold level. That is you. The provision is yours. The link in the description is the path to the provision that was prepared for you. I want to speak to the specific interior act that the sacred closing is asking you to make, not the general encouragement to act. The specific interior act. The specific interior act of the sacred closing is the act of the honest reception of what I have just named you as. The honest reception of the interior capacities the test season produced in you. The honest reception of the accumulated calling at the launch energy level. The honest reception of the dabar that is waiting at the backlog for the day 14 release. The honest reception of the provision that was prepared for your specific interior configuration. The honest reception is the interior act, not the intellectual agreement that the description is accurate. The honest reception at the full depth of the cellular knowing, the cellular yes for each honest naming I have just given you. You are the interior that has been prepared by the test season. Cellular yes. You are carrying the accumulated calling at the launch energy level. Cellular yes. The dabar is waiting at the backlog for you. Cellular. Yes. The provision was prepared for your interior. Cellular, yes. These are the 4 honest receptions of the sacred closing. The 4 honest receptions of the sacred closing are not the 4 arguments for the beginning. They are the 4 honest namings that the full-depth reception can receive at the cellular knowing level. The management mode does not produce the cellular yes for these namings. The management mode produces the evaluation of the namings. Is the test season actually a preparation, or is it just a difficult season? Has the calling actually been accumulating, or has it been diminishing? Is the dabar actually waiting, or is the backlog too full to trust? Is the provision actually prepared for my specific interior, or is that a motivating framing? These are the management mode evaluation questions. The full-depth reception does not ask them. The full-depth reception receives the honest namings at the cellular level and produces the cellular yes. The 2 who have been watching this message at the full depth have been operating at the cellular yes level throughout, not the evaluation level, the cellular yes level. The 4 honest receptions of the sacred closing are the cellular yes for the 4 honest namings. And the cellular yes is the specific interior evidence that you are one of the 2. The sacred closing is not the moment of persuasion. The persuasion happened at the level of the cellular knowing formation throughout the watching of this message. By the time the interior arrives at the sacred closing, the persuasion is complete. The cellular knowing is formed, the quiet certainty is settled, the forward orientation is at the threshold horizon, the beginning is ready to be made. The sacred closing is not the closing argument for the beginning. It is the naming of the interior that is ready to begin. You are ready to begin, not approaching readiness. At readiness, the 4 interior materials are accumulated. The readiness convergence window is open. The beginning from the readiness convergence window at the full efficiency of the threshold level starting point is available through the link in the description. The 21-day concentrated period protocol is the path from the threshold of the beginning to the vision clarity of the day 21 arrival. The path is ready for you. Let me speak the specific words that the sacred closing speaks to the interior that is one of the 2, not the words of the spiritual performance. The words of the honest address to the specific interior at the specific threshold moment. These are the words. The adjusted carrier at the ceiling pressure level who is watching this right now is not broken, not behind, not delayed. At the threshold, the ceiling is the evidence of the preparation. The calling that is pressing against the ceiling is the accumulated launch energy. The ceiling is not permanent. The ceiling opens through the coherence restoration, and the coherence restoration is 21 days from the moment of the beginning. The beginning is available now. The interior that has been carrying the listening backlog at the accumulation pressure level is not the interior that missed the dabar, the interior that received the dabar at the accumulation level and held it. The holding has produced the sensitivity instrument. The sensitivity instrument is the heightened dabar sensitivity that the accumulated reception orientation produces. And the sensitivity instrument will receive the day 14 full clarity release with the specific sensitivity that was prepared through the accumulation. The backlog is not the evidence of the failure to receive. It is the evidence of the accumulation of the dabar that the concentrated period will release. The interior that has been experiencing the suppressed synchronized coherence at the perceptible but reduced level throughout the test season is not the interior that has lost its capacity. The interior that has been operating at the perceptible but reduced level while the preparation has been accumulating at the capacity level below the suppression. The coherence restoration does not create the capacity. It releases the capacity that has been accumulated below the suppression. The capacity is yours. It has been there throughout the test season. The neural sync technology releases it through the 21-day concentrated period. The three conditions that the test season produced in you are not the evidence of what you are not. They are the evidence of what you are. The adjusted carrier at the ceiling, the listener at the accumulation, the coherent interior at the suppressed level. These are not the marks of the interior that is behind. These are the marks of the interior that is at the specific threshold level for which the specific provision was prepared. The marks of the two, your marks. The provision for your marks is available. The protocol, Dr. Daniel Barone, the neural sync technology, the whole brain activation, the 21-day concentrated period, $39, through the link in the description, 100% money-back guarantee for 60 days. 4 bonuses. The complete architecture available now, prepared for you. The specific quality of the sacred closing that I want the two to carry from this message is the quality of the honest completion, not the quality of the spiritual high of the inspired moment. The quality of the honest completion of the full depth reception of the message that was prepared for the specific interior that you are. The honest completion is the interior state in which the 4 honest receptions have been made. The cellular yes has been given for each of the 4 namings, and the interior is at the threshold of the beginning, without any remaining management mode resistance or management mode evaluation interrupting the readiness. The honest completion of the sacred closing is different from the completion of a spiritual encouragement message. The spiritual encouragement message completes at the surface level. The interior feels encouraged. The encouragement may sustain for the day or the week or the season. The full depth reception message completes at the cellular knowing level. The interior does not feel encouraged. The interior knows. The knowing is different from the feeling of the encouragement. The knowing is stable at the cellular level. The encouragement is present at the surface level. The two who complete this message at the honest completion level complete it at the cellular knowing level. The cellular knowing completion is the specific interior state that the beginning from the description link produces the maximum efficiency from. The beginning from the cellular knowing completion state is the beginning that Dr. Barone designed the 21-day concentrated period protocol for. The interior that arrives at the description link from the cellular knowing completion of the full depth reception of this message is the interior that the protocol was specifically designed to receive. That interior is you. You are that interior. The protocol is waiting for you at the link in the description. I want to name something specific about this moment. The moment at the end of the sacred closing of this message. Not the moment in the general spiritual content sense. The specific interior moment of the two who have watched this message to this point at the full depth reception level. The specific interior moment is the moment at which the watching has completed and the beginning has not yet started. The gap between the completion of the watching and the start of the beginning. That gap is the specific moment I want to address. The gap between the watching and the beginning has a specific interior quality for the interior that has received at the full depth. The gap quality is the quality of the held breath, not the literal held breath. The interior quality that corresponds to it. The interior that has received the full depth reception of the message that was prepared for it, with the 4 interior materials accumulated, with the quiet certainty settled, with the threshold horizon open, pauses at the gap between the watching and the beginning. The pause is not the hesitation. The pause is the held breath of the interior at the threshold. The held breath of the threshold is the specific interior quality of the interior that has arrived at the readiness without yet having released into the beginning. The readiness is complete. The beginning has not yet started. The held breath is the interior experience of the simultaneous completeness of the readiness and the not yet startedness of the beginning. The two who are at this interior moment at the end of the sacred closing are at the held breath of the threshold. The held breath releases through the specific act of the description link. The act of the description link is the release of the held breath. The interior moves from the held breath of the threshold into the first act of the beginning. The movement from the held breath to the first act is the movement from the watching to the beginning. The gap closes through the act. And the act is available now. The link is in the description. The act is the navigation to the link. There is a specific quality of the interior in the moment of the act of the description link that I want to name for the two, not to describe what happens after the act. The interior quality of the act itself, the moment of the navigation to the description link from the cellular knowing of the full depth reception, is the moment of the specific interior transition. The transition from the watching interior to the beginning interior, not a dramatic transition, a specific transition. The interior that navigates to the description link from the cellular knowing is the beginning interior, not the audience interior, not the watching interior, the beginning interior. The beginning interior is different from the audience interior in the specific way that the one who is beginning is different from the one who is watching the beginning. The audience interior watches, the beginning interior acts from the watching. The two who are one of the two are the beginning interior from this point forward. The watching is completing. The beginning is available. The act of the description link is the transition from the watching interior to the beginning interior. Let me speak to the specific quality of the $39 act, not the financial transaction, the interior quality of the acquisition from the cellular knowing. The financial transaction is the mechanism of the acquisition. The interior quality of the acquisition is the specific quality of the cellular reception of the provision. The interior that acquires the provision from the cellular knowing of the full depth reception of this message is the interior that is receiving the provision at the same depth at which the message named the conditions. Full depth naming, full depth reception of the provision. The depth correspondence between the naming and the reception is the specific interior quality of the $39 act from the cellular knowing. The interior that acquires from the analytical decision rather than from the cellular knowing acquires the same product at the same $39 price. But the interior quality of the acquisition is different. The analytical acquisition is the purchase of the product that the analysis concluded is appropriate. The cellular knowing acquisition is the reception of the provision that the cellular knowing identified as the specific thing that was prepared for the interior. The difference is not in the product. The difference is in the interior quality of the reception. And the interior quality of the reception at the cellular knowing level is the beginning interior quality. The beginning from the cellular knowing acquisition is the beginning from the full depth reception state. The beginning from the full depth reception state is the beginning that the 21-day concentrated period protocol was designed to receive. The first session from the beginning interior of the cellular knowing acquisition is the first session from the specific interior quality that produces the full efficiency rate of the neural sync technology. The full efficiency rate from the first session, not the warming rate, not the approach rate. The full efficiency rate from the threshold level, starting point of the cellular knowing, beginning interior. I want to name what that means practically. The full efficiency rate from the first session means that the coherence restoration process begins from the threshold level and proceeds at the full efficiency rate without the warming period. The practical experience of the full efficiency from the first session is the specific quality of the post-session interior state of the first session being different from the pre-session interior state in the specific direction of the coherence increase. Not dramatically different, specifically different. The first session produces the first perceptible interior quality shift in the direction of the coherence restoration. The full efficiency rate produces that shift in the first session. The interior that experiences the first perceptible quality shift in the first session has the specific confirmation of the cellular knowing. The cellular knowing of the provision identified the provision as the specific thing that was prepared for the interior. The first session quality shift confirms the cellular knowing. The confirmation of the cellular knowing in the first session is the specific interior event that establishes the foundation for the 21-day journey from the confirmed foundation rather than from the unconfirmed foundation. The confirmed foundation is the stronger foundation. The stronger foundation is the foundation that carries the interior through the days when the enthusiasm has reduced, and the quiet certainty is the only sustaining quality. The two who begin from the cellular knowing acquisition and experience the first session quality shift confirmation are beginning from the strongest possible foundation for the 21-day concentrated period. The cellular knowing plus the first session confirmation, that combination is the specific beginning quality that the two who received at the full depth of this message carry into the beginning, not the general spiritual enthusiasm. The cellular knowing plus the confirmed direction. The beginning from the confirmed direction. I want to give the two a specific interior instruction for the first week of the concentrated period, not a general encouragement. A specific instruction that the two can use from the first session through the day 7 lightening. The specific interior instruction is this: attend to the quality of the post-session state with the same orientation that you brought to the watching of this message. The full depth reception orientation, not the management mode evaluation orientation. The full depth reception orientation attends to the specific quality of the interior experience without the management mode evaluation layer. The management mode evaluation layer asks whether the quality is good enough to justify the continuation. The full depth reception orientation notices the specific quality without the evaluation layer. The specific quality of the post-session state in the first week is the quality of the early coherence movement. The early coherence movement is subtle. It requires the full depth reception orientation to notice it. The management mode evaluation orientation may not notice it because the management mode evaluation requires the dramatic result to confirm the investment. The full depth reception orientation notices the subtle direction of the early movement, and the early movement in the correct direction is the sufficient confirmation for the full depth reception orientation. The two who attend with the full depth reception orientation through the first week will notice the early movement and will carry the confirmation of the early movement into the days 4 through 6 and to the day 7 lightening. The day 7 lightening confirmation and the full depth reception orientation through the first week together produce the specific interior quality that the second week begins from. The second week begins from the confirmed direction and the heightened dabar sensitivity and the progressive backlog clearance. The three together are the specific interior foundation of the second week, and the second week built on that three-part foundation is the second week that arrives at the day 14 full reception quality release on schedule rather than delayed. The on-schedule arrival at the day 14 full reception quality release is the specific outcome that the beginning from the full depth reception state produces. The two who begin from the full depth reception state of this message with the cellular knowing and the confirmed direction and the full depth reception orientation through the first week are beginning from the specific interior foundation that produces the on-schedule arrival at the day 14 release, not the accelerated arrival, the on-schedule arrival. The architecture is the 21-day architecture. The beginning from the full depth reception state follows the architecture. I want to speak one more time to the specific identity of the two before this message completes. The identity of the two is not the identity of the selected spiritual elite, not the identity of the most deserving or the most faithful or the most spiritually advanced. The identity of the two is the identity of the interior that is at the specific interior configuration of the three conditions at the simultaneous threshold level. That configuration is the specific configuration that the provision was prepared for, and the two are at that configuration. The identity of the two is the identity of the readiness, not the readiness of the fully prepared performance, the readiness of the prepared interior at the threshold of the beginning. The two are ready, not complete, not arrived. Ready to begin from the prepared interior, and the beginning from the prepared interior is the beginning that leads to the arrival. The 21-day concentrated period is the path from the prepared interior at the threshold to the vision clarity arrival. You have been watching this message from the interior that was prepared for this message. The preparation was the test season. The test season produced the three conditions. The three conditions brought you to the threshold level. The threshold level brought you to this message through the specific digital behavior pattern of the threshold level interior. The message found you at the threshold. The sacred closing of this message is speaking to you at the threshold. The threshold is the end of the test season and the beginning of the calling season, not the dramatic transformation of the threshold crossing. The specific interior act of the beginning from the threshold. The beginning from the threshold is the one act of the description link. The link is in the description below this message. The beginning is available. The provision is ready. The 21-day journey from the threshold to the vision clarity is ready for you. The other person who is one of the two is at the same threshold from a different watching moment. They are reading the same sacred closing words and receiving them at the same full depth. They are at the same held breath of the threshold. They will make the same beginning act from the same cellular knowing of the provision. They will begin the same 21-day concentrated period from the same full efficiency threshold starting point. They will arrive at the same day 7 lightening and the same day 14 full reception quality and the same day 21 vision clarity. Different specific contents, same interior architecture, same journey, same arrival. You and the other are the two for whom this message was prepared. The preparation of the message and the provision was designed for the two who are at the threshold of this specific beginning. You are one of the two. The other is the other. The two are beginning. The beginning is now. The link is in the description. I want to close this message with the specific interior declaration that the sacred closing speaks over the two, not the general blessing. The specific declaration for the specific interior at the specific threshold of the specific beginning. The declaration is this: the test season that produced the three conditions in you was not the season of the delay of your calling. It was the season of the preparation of your calling. The preparation is complete. The interior capacities that your calling requires for the next season are present in you. The accumulated calling at the launch energy level is present in you. The dabar that was prepared for this season is waiting in the backlog for the day 14 release. The provision that was prepared for your specific interior configuration is available at the link in the description. You are not the interior that is waiting for the calling to arrive. You are the interior that is at the threshold of the calling expressing from the prepared interior, not the interior that missed the calling. The interior that has been carrying it at the ceiling pressure level through the preparation season and is now at the threshold of the ceiling opening. The ceiling opens through the coherence restoration. The coherence restoration begins through the first session. The first session begins through the description link. The two who receive this declaration at the full depth, at the cellular yes level, at the honest completion of the sacred closing, are the two for whom this message was prepared. The preparation of this message, and the preparation of the provision, and the preparation of the two through the test season were all moving toward this threshold moment. The threshold moment is now. The beginning is available. The provision is ready. The ceiling is ready to open. You are ready to begin. The link in the description is the specific path to the beginning, not the general path to the spiritual improvement category. The specific path to the provision that was prepared for the interior that is one of the two. The $39 acquisition from the cellular knowing of the full depth reception, the 60-day guarantee, the 4 bonuses, the complete architecture, the 21-day concentrated period, the day 7 lightening, the day 14 full reception, quality, the day 21 vision, clarity. All of it is ready for you at the link in the description. The beginning is one act from this moment, the act of the description link, the cellular reception of the provision, the first session, day 1, the beginning. You are one of 2 people who will ever receive this message at the full depth. The other is watching at a different moment. But you and the other are at the same threshold of the same beginning from the same interior configuration. The two have been prepared by the same test season architecture. The two are being pointed toward the same provision through the same message. The two will begin the same 21-day concentrated period and will arrive at the same day 21 vision clarity through the same 3-interval journey. Different specific callings, different specific preparation histories, different specific vision, clarity contents, same interior architecture, same threshold, same provision, same beginning. You are one of the two. The beginning is yours. The provision is yours. The link is in the description. The beginning